In the month of May, Streaming Things is brought to you by Chester Copperpot, Stanton Valentino, Will Nash, Alan Tomlinson, Wendy O'Loughlin, Jason Hawkins, Matthew Amerson, Trey Barrera, Conrad, Luke and Sarah, David Malfara, Kaylee Sampson, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Jose Ruben Cruz Rodriguez, Alexis Adler, Thomas Alexander, Emmy, Joe Velez, Abby Vollmer, Valerie, Aaron Layton, Amanda King, Sun-Loving Mortal, Andrew Gray, Jen Robinson, Kate, Chloe Richardson, Kalisha Reeves, Kiki Newton, Kevin Strother, Jeanette Murphy, Casey McCain, and Enza.
Welcome back. My name is Chris.
My name's Madison.
And I'm Caligula.
And this is Streaming Things, continuing our coverage of YELLOWJACKETS, this time Season 2, Episode 9, the finale, titled Storytelling.
Very benign title for such a bananas episode.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it fit, though. There was a couple of instances of storytelling.
Stories being told.
Stories being told, exactly.
Campfire chats.
One could argue a story was in fact told over the course of this 61-minute episode.
Could you, though? Could you argue that?
Actually,
I feel like yes.
I don't know.
The fact that we're arguing it now maybe says so, yes.
Directed by Karen Kusama, who did a bunch of great TV work, but also directed The Invitation, a great smaller horror film. The reason why I originally checked out this show was, in fact, the knowledge that Karen Kusama was involved way back when. So it was nice to have her kind of cap it all off at the end of Season 2. But yeah, we're done. We're done, baby. YELLOWJACKETS Season 2 is over. It's in the bag.
It's in the bag.
And I assume we have thoughts.
And I think you're putting the cart a little bit before the horse, Chris.
Am I?
Because people who are watching on YouTube...
Nothing is amiss.
They're like, what is happening right now? Audio listeners don't know there's something weird happening.
Right.
There is something weird happening. What is that?
Maybe we got new mics or your haircut.
My hair, yeah, it's my haircut. Nothing else is weird.
Nothing else is
We're
weird.
wearing outfits.
We are wearing outfits.
Can anyone guess?
Yeah.
But it's not live, so we're not going to get your guesses.
Yeah,
No.
like so last season, the first season of YELLOWJACKETS, the finale, we all dressed up as Misty.
Uh-huh.
So
Best
it
day
only
of my
felt
life.
right that we continue the tradition of dressing up for the finale of YELLOWJACKETS.
We had a
And-
couple of contenders for
Yep.
what we wanted to do.
I could have been a contender.
But we ultimately wanted to do the iconic Misty dream scene where she is visited by human Caligula, which is
Me.
Steve.
Hello, I'm
Yes.
Caligula.
Human Caligula.
I'm Walter
And then
in the top hat.
I'm
and
Misty.
Blazer.
I've never felt more like myself as I did when I was Misty.
You were vibing.
I feel very powerful
You
with this
should.
wig on. And the glasses.
We debated all wearing the blue bathing suit one pieces,
Yes.
we did.
I think it would have been pretty funny.
but I looked like a beluga whale in mine. I didn't actually wear it, but I just assumed.
No, the raw sex appeal was just too much.
It's too much.
Too much for the
YouTube would have
show.
flagged us immediately. Like
Yeah.
this is too hot.
Even
Yep.
though it's from chest up.
Doesn't matter.
But they could have sensed it in the room.
You know, I'm sitting here. If we didn't have, you know, if we had more time and we didn't have all this stuff kind of come up last minute that took away from prep time, I would have definitely got like a red curtain to put behind you, Madison, with the
yeah.
spotlight, like that really like almost iconic shot of Misty smiling in front of the curtain, because that would just rock right
Just
now. I
fix
wish
it
I
in
had time
post.
to do that. Just fix it. I'll fix it in post. I'm gonna put a little red curtain behind you.
Is your
Okay.
boa giving you trouble right now? It keeps falling.
It keeps trying to escape me. Yeah.
It's because it's sliding off your silk robe.
My silk
Yeah.
robe. Yeah.
Audio listeners are like, what?
What the
Please
fuck?
tune into the YouTube. And
I
you'll
have-
know what we're talking about.
Yeah, he's giving Hugh Hefner, Ric Flair, Bird.
Yes. Woo, caca.
I'm giving Heisenberg.
I'm giving Marilyn psychopath.
Ooh. So Misty.
Misty. Exactly.
I am the one who knocks.
Yeah, Chris, you look like you're either going to you're Heisenberg or you're about to kill Abraham Lincoln. Like one of the two.
I'm just going to the theater to
Nope.
see a show. Nothing's amiss. I'm not packing.
I'm not packing.
I'm not packing.
Doth,
I
sir,
am.
I am not packing.
I am. I assume we have thoughts. And if you have thoughts about the finale or anything we've covered at all or anything we're about to cover, always feel free to email the show at streamingthingspod@gmail.com. We love the emails that we get. You can also get more content. And what everybody needs these days is more content by going to patreon.com/streamingthings and subscribing at a variety of tiers. The $5 tier and above will get you access to bonus episodes. The $10 tier and above will get you access to our Discord, which is a thriving community run by people much smarter than us. And they're just having a ball in there 24/7. So that's a fun thing to be a part of. If you can't afford to support the show in that way, we fully understand that. We do a couple of things for you guys anyway. Like we drop the Patreon episodes sometimes a few months later. In fact, we are taking a vacation after you listen to this for about a week and a half. And so we're going to drop some bonus episodes in that time.
Yeah, we're going to drop a bonus episode this Wednesday and then next Monday and next Wednesday as well. Because we're going to take a break. But when we come back, what is that, June 12th?
Something like that.
Something like that. So. When we come back, we're going to be coming back hard.
Hot.
With a vengeance.
Yeah.
Hot. 5 episodes a week. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Crazy.
I'm ready. We're going to get Lost.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible. Chosen episodes. Crossing Streams. Strange New World. Star Trek. It's going to be a lot of stuff.
All of it.
Coming at you.
And then more stuff in the future. Game of Thrones, Ahsoka. It's all coming down the pipeline. So get ready. But I'm sure you're just chomping at the bit to know our thoughts on the finale of Yellow Jackets Season 2. At this point, I've been droning on and on. I'm sure we have thoughts. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about overall what we felt about the episode. And I guess at this point, we can drop a few lines on what we thought about the season in general, how it compares to Season 1, what you think you're looking forward to most going forward. And then we'll do a recap scene by scene of the finale itself and cap it all off with our 3 favorite segments, our choice cuts, our top 3 favorite moments of the episode, our honeycombs, some usual musical tidbits or other Easter eggs from the 90s that we were able to pull out. And finally, our buzzworthy performance, the last Streamy Award given for Yellow Jackets Season 2 will be tonight. Who will get it?
Who will get it?
Stay tuned to find out.
Will it be Dane Cook?
Possibly. That would be a plot
Close
twist
call.
of epic proportions.
Or John Ritter? Oh, wait.
Oh. Yeah.
Misty. What are your thoughts overall on the finale and Season 2 as a whole?
Well, to start with my a few words, no context, I have crime of passion, hot cocoa, ? And sordid police corruption scandal. So my overall thoughts, I have quite a few mixed emotions about the ending, to be honest. I think I was going in anticipating something maybe more, and I don't know if it was undersold for me. I'm not sure. I enjoyed a couple of the twists and turns that the show revealed. I had a good time, but there were a couple of choices that didn't sit well with me. Particularly like Walter kind of swooping in and being the safe scope for the Adam Martin situation was a little odd to me. Also, some of the deaths. Like, I knew there was going to be a death in the final episode, but I'm not sure how I feel about who died. And I'm also feeling slightly confused about the supernatural and versus the reality, or the real world
Science.
Yes. But I don't know. We reached the end of Season 2 and we're still not sure who the enemy is, I guess. I don't know. I'm full of different mixed feelings about it. But ultimately, I want to rewatch Season 2 and see kind of how it flows together top to tail without any space in between, because I feel like that can be a different experience in itself.
Top to tail.
Yes.
Nose to cheeks.
Exactly. But to kind of reflect on how this compares to Season 1, I thought Season 1 was very nice and buttoned up, had a lot of mystery, anticipation to look forward to throughout the entire season. But with Season 2, it felt like it began that way. And then there were some things towards the end that I was just I'm surprised that they went in that direction. Oh, they decided to do this. It was just very different than what I was anticipating. Like, the payoffs weren't as satisfying as I wanted them to be, at least in this episode. But yeah, that's kind of my overall thought.
Excellent. Steve, what are you thinking? What's going on through that bird brain of yours?
My bird brain. Let's see. Well, it's kind of interesting, Madison, that you said that.
Okay.
Because that's almost exactly how I feel.
Okay.
I think this episode, there were a lot of things in the episode I did like. In fact, whoever's in charge of music was like, what music choices can we put in here that's going to make Steve just howl at the moon?
There were some good needle drops.
Literally, there's actually one song, we'll get to it, but there's one song in here that I have a very special relationship with, and I'm excited to share that story. Like, I literally sat on my seat like, they're playing that? What? But yeah, there was a couple deaths in this episode, and it's kind of weird how a show that's so focused around death, I don't think has quite landed a character's death yet, if that makes sense. Like, I don't like how one character died specifically, and the other character died in such a way that was so like hand waved away. It was honestly funny. So at least it had that going for it.
Right.
But like, it was just kind of odd. And then there's a big thing at the end, like a big question mark at the end that I don't know, like they did not rectify. They brought up this scenario that had big ramifications for how the show would end, but then they just didn't address it. So that was weird. But then there were also some reveals with like the wilderness choosing people that I was digging, that I was really into. But yeah, I think this episode kind of encapsulates my thoughts about the season as a whole. And that is uneven. There's a lot of unevenness happening in this season of the show in particular. Like, for every great thing that happens, there's something that doesn't make sense, doesn't land, doesn't have the emotional oomph to it every time. And it's unfortunate because when I look back on the first season, like you said, Madison, it was tight. It almost knew what it was doing, what it was striving for, and it went for it. Yeah. And it set up these questions. And it left, when it ended, it was in a good place. Like, oh, okay, these are the stories. These are the mysteries. Let's get into it with the next couple seasons. This season felt like it didn't quite know where it was going, or it did know where it was going, but kept tripping over itself trying to get there. Yeah. Sometimes it would speed up too fast, but then it would like pull the brakes on. Like Natalie, for instance, is a character that's so awesome. Specifically, Sophie Thatcher's Natalie, young Natalie. She's so great, right? But I'd say in the middle of the whole season, she's almost non-existent. She disappears for a big part of it, and then she comes back in a big way in this episode. And it's just kind of like there's just an uneven feeling to everything.
Yeah.
Nothing's as cohesive. So I think season 1 is definitely, in my opinion, much, much, much better than this season. And that's unfortunate because I don't know if I truly actually really love this season, if I'm being honest. There's just too much whiplash with some things, and other things just don't work for me personally. But I'm excited to see what Chris thinks.
Excuse me, I was just in rapt attention.
Oh my God.
I agree for the most part. I do think that it was not a home run. I think I can unequivocally say season finale, not a home run. Season 2, not a home run. A lot of high points, a lot of fun to be had. And I think that what they've done a great job of is having me fall in love with these characters so much that, am I tuning in day 1 for season 3? Absolutely. And I think the very last shot did a great job of making me feel more excited for season 3. Like with the burning of the house, right? Like that whole thing, I was like, ooh, that's a good way to end the season.
Yeah.
Right up to that point, I wouldn't say actively angry, but just almost, almost.
Really? You're actively angry for most of the episode?
Well, how they handled certain things, like, like you guys hinted at with my guy, Walter, some hilarious moments. And the fact that he came in as this like superhero genius, Joker almost guy, I actually love that.
Yeah.
But it all, like when it turned to him framing Jay and giving him that ultimatum, that was just so... okay, like just instant, like Jay just immediately accepted it.
Yeah.
It was just like the whole time I'm thinking all of my issues could be solved, or 90% of my issues with this season could be solved by one more episode. And the fact that this season had 9 just fucking angers me. You know what I mean? Like, what happened there? It seems like there is a legitimately like missing episode. Like the girls just jump so quickly to playing the card game of death, the Russian roulette. In that last episode, I think that needed more time. Like they just jumped so quickly to, I think we should kill one of us.
And they spent so much time because when the season started, we're like, ooh, Lottie's back. How wild is this? But they spent so much time kind of giving that character like, no, she's not crazy. She's actually really cool. And then for the last episode, she just dives headfirst into the deep end. Meanwhile, her character in the background or in the 90s is doing the opposite. It's weird.
It is weird.
Yeah. It's like the juxtaposition of their adult self and their younger self, which in season 1, I felt like they did a really good job at like tag teaming it in some way with their younger self and the adult self. But I feel like season 2, they're either completely different in terms of like where their headspace is or their intentions with the character. It's making it super like inconsistent and very hard to like connect those characters with each other, even though they're playing the same person.
Right. Like for instance, they're crowning Natalie, which is a huge major plot twist. Young Natalie, and so I agree. Sophie Thatcher is one of my favorite parts about this show.
Her.
Incredible character. They're crowning her the Antler Queen or whatever you want to call it at that point, right? Like I never would have saw that coming.
Yeah, that was a twist that I liked.
At the same time, they're killing Natalie in the future. And it's just like a weird thing going on in my brain.
Because,
like, do I even care anymore? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a strange feeling.
It's like, Sophie Thatcher's Nat's character's fate. It's like, she does die. And then, I don't know, it's just, that's a weird, I don't know if that's a perspective that is very common in television to like be able to experience that. So,
like, sometimes in narratives like this, it can give you, I've seen it done well where like a character's going to die and they play around with the flashbacks of them to much great use.
Well, I think the best example I can think of is Godfather 2. Where half the movie is young Vito Corleone. I mean, it's one of the most famous movies of all time, right? Like they did that extremely well. And season 1 of this show, I think, like you said, it balanced it great. But they lost the plot completely with Shauna in this season, I think.
Yeah.
A couple of things, but I'm not shitting on I mean, I really love the show. And I think, like I said, the characters are so strong that I'm in. But I think they could have done, like Steve, you hinted at, like if they had a different approach with adult Lottie, I think, then the season would have been much more interesting. If maybe she was just went mad or whatever a little sooner, or had just stayed that way. Like I'm an evil sorceress and I'm busted out of the psych ward. Now, that would have been, I think, more interesting.
Going into the season, as a viewer, I was in the headspace that Lottie was the person she was in this episode. But then they told me that's not the case and then built me back up to where I thought she was at the beginning of the season. Which is just kind of odd.
Well, I feel like with adult Lottie in particular, it's like they presented her to be this sane, like she understand, like just her plot, like in terms of how she acted at the beginning of the season versus how she ended. I just was like, I feel like it was a complete 180 to what we were expecting to what we ended up getting. And that's kind of why I was like, it's just really weird how they went about that.
Yeah. But if I want to be like positive, I do like how they connected Van's previous self with her current self. I think that's really being well done. I think, again, Misty continues to be like probably the better written of the characters. I liked her arc this season a lot. But you're right, Shauna's like kind of a mess. Like that whole thing with Shauna is an absolute mess, and they really just kind of dropped the bag on that in the last several episodes.
And the beans are out of the bag.
The beans are, in fact, out of the bag. Soup to nuts, they are. Bear down. Don't make me say it, Your Grace.
Like, I almost would have wanted them to extend. Like, I feel like they got to too many unanswered questions too quickly in season 2. It's like, I almost would have liked it if they spread out Shauna's birth to be the very end of season 2, with the baby dying, and then maybe have a couple of like interesting plot points to happen in the adult timeline and the younger timeline in the meantime. And I also feel like in the younger timeline, the tension between the girls has kind of gone away. It's like somebody's telling them something and then nobody is arguing it. And versus last time where it was like you had Ty's voice kind of chiming in, you had Shauna's voice chiming in, and Van. And so it's just like, I mean, I don't know if they're just all wanting to just listen to one person. Like, I don't know. It just felt very, okay, we're just going to do this now? Okay, fine. Going back to like the whole Russian roulette thing, like I feel like that should have been a conversation.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I think a lot of the this giant mysteries of this show, which is kind of a mystery box show, like the whole point is like the fun of trying to figure out what's going on. It's one of those shows. And all of the answers just keep coming up duds.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Like who is Adam?
No one.
Nobody. Right? Like,
where'd Javi go? Oh, he's right there.
He's just been in a tree hole. Yeah. He's literally just been in a fucking tree hole the whole time. He's been eating birds. That's not interesting at all. Okay. Whoa, what happened to Shauna's baby? Is it like a woods monster? It's stillborn.
Right.
It's like a very normal thing that you would expect for a young woman who has been malnourished to do during birth. Like, that's sad, but the fuck? And maybe that's the point, is like the people that are like, none of this is supernatural. That's going to piss me off.
Well,
I'm not gonna
that's
lie.
what I'm saying.
I'm going to be pissed off.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they have given us reason to believe there's supernatural elements at play.
Have you heard these theories about the mining camp?
No.
Like there's a mining camp nearby, and it's like a lot of metal is being leaked into like the water that they're drinking and stuff. And that's why the quote unquote blood river was so red. It was filled with like metals and iron. And so they're being slowly like poisoned. And
like going crazy?
Then they're all going crazy. And that's why all of this is happening.
That's funny.
That's interesting. I almost feel like, okay, I don't know if I would want that payoff either. You know
I
what
would
I
hate
mean?
it.
At this point, it's like,
They
I
have
want
to do some legwork to make that.
Yeah, they can maybe make it work, but
But at this point, I want supernatural now. Like,
Yeah,
bring
it's fun.
it on.
It's fun.
Bring
I
it on.
wanted Shauna's baby to be a Bigfoot.
Oh my God,
goodness.
Sean, it's a Bigfoot.
Oh my God.
Not
Congratulations.
Like at birth.
Oh,
It was
that-
raised that way, like a Mowgli.
Hello, I've been raised to be a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I'm always
Like he's
I
being
take
interviewed
pictures-
now.
I take pictures poorly. I'm always out of focus.
But going back to the whole supernatural question, it's like they have laid shit in front of us to think, oh, this is supernatural. The guy who Jackie saw when she died, who the fuck was that? That was never brought up again. The guy with no eyes. The Lottie speaking, fucking Latin shit in the
Yeah.
like,
How do you
in the
explain that? She doesn't
exorcism.
speak Latin
Like the hell? I have a whole
or
list of
French or whatever.
Lottie
yeah,
was speaking
whatever. She was
French.
like,
It was French.
It was French.
But she doesn't speak
it was
French.
it was Sophie Nélisse dubbing over.
Oh, because she's
French
Canadian.
She's French Canadian, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Like I have a whole list of like after this episode ended, I
Where's
went
Sammy?
to
Where's Steve? Where's Simone?
where's Crystal's body? Where's I have a whole list of
where's
shit.
Crystal's body? Yeah,
I have a
I
whole
forgot
list
about
of
that.
shit that questions I have.
Yeah, there's some people think that she literally just didn't dig deep enough.
I mean, when we reviewed it last week, I was like, I think she's a couple feet away from where her body was, but
She's like, just keep going.
I tried for a solid 2 minutes.
But like I
and
like
could
the
not-
idea
there's nothing I could
of
do.
maybe like a tribe like out in the middle of that area, no one's noted, like met or anything like that, has acknowledged, and they're just fucking with the girls or something. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think something like that would be fun.
Living in the tunnels.
Yeah.
But like, imagine if they had ended with that. Like one of our girls stumbles upon a native or something, or like another, maybe something we don't even know exists
Yeah.
on this planet or whatever.
Right.
In the
An
woods.
other.
An
One
other
of
of
the
some kind.
others.
Is that a lost thing?
That is a lost.
But
Yeah,
also, too,
exactly.
like if this wasn't a supernatural thing and maybe there's some symbolism behind how all of the adult women handle trauma, because they had this whole conversation in the sharing shack of how Lottie was saying, our suppression of what we experience shows out in other ways. And so maybe Ty is a like representation of something and Shauna is and Van is, but it's like there's going to have to be an external character to come in and explain that to them so it can explain it to the audience. And I'm just like, I don't know if I want that. I don't want that. I want there to be another entity that's bad. That is,
back in the 50s, we got a mining building up there on them hills, and unfortunately, we didn't take care of the ore.
I feel like at
It's
this
poisonous
point,
for sure.
It's the prospector
big
from
boy.
Toy Story 2.
oh my gosh,
Sometimes-
who was in the plane?
Yeah.
That guy.
You guys forgot I was here. I was hitching a ride.
God damn it! So, who destroyed my plane?
Who set the goddamn cabin on fire?
That was my weekend getaway place in the summer. God damn it!
I tucked my plane right over here. I hope a Jesus freak didn't get in it. I've rigged it to blow if it happens.
An old booby trap. We got to booby trap everything in the wilderness.
It's a bomb that can sense a crucifix. Well, let's dive into
let's
the
dive
recap
in.
and then our specific grievances / things that we loved, because there is a lot to love.
I'm
will
sorry.
come
I
up
have
scene
to,
by scene.
I have to take this beak off.
I
It's
imagine-
driving
Take
me
the-
nuts.
Honestly, the
Take-
hat's killing me too, but I'm going to rock it as long as I can.
I literally, oh my God, that feels so much better.
Bet.
It left a mark.
It did.
Well,
It'll
thank
go
you
away.
for trying to give legitimate criticism wearing that thing. Though.
I know.
Yeah, I really hope that if anyone ever like captions our video, like
Are you airing it out? Airing out your head?
like they'll use a caption of me going like, I thought the season was uneven, but it's me in a fucking bird beak.
You're gonna be
I am
on a
serious movie reviewer.
You're gonna be on a highlight reel later.
Right.
Caligula says, but anywho, the episode opens in 1996, and it's Natalie returning from the chaos that we saw at the end of episode 8, and she's all dirty and like Javi just drowned. She let him drown so she could survive, right? She's upset. She comes back to a worried Travis who's like, Natalie, oh my God.
safe.
I was so worried. I couldn't even read my Harry Potter books while you were gone.
You're my
And you know how
favorite
much
babe.
that means
I
to me,
just got
babe.
to the part where Harry came back with Cedric from Goblet of Fire.
Oh, so wicked. It was sad. I cried. I couldn't cry harder than I did when I read that. What do you have to tell me?
And then he sees them toting Javi, right? Like they've fashioned what's it called? It's like a gurney. It's like there's a word for it.
They're preparing him for a meal. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know if that's a gurney. That's what you
Like-
tie like dead animals to after you
Like he's
hunt them down.
hands tied, legs tied to a long branch that they're carrying
Yeah.
through the woods.
Got him.
I mean, all they were missing was an apple in his mouth.
True.
It's a Javi tote.
Hobby
And then they cut quickly back
Toad by Michael Kors.
back to 2021. And we jump right back into Lottie and the whole crew and like the death Kool-Aid roulette that she's trying to pitch to them, right?
It won't stop till it gets what it wants.
And Shauna says, give it a hunt. That's what we're going to do. Give it a whole ass hunt. That's what it likes. It likes to party.
Which I was under the impression, because Shauna approaches this with Lottie as like, let's just play along. Whereas previous episode, I thought they were all like into it, like wanting to do it.
Well, I kind of think we get it's confusing. I agree with you. Because I do think the way the scene plays out is a lot of them seem to be actually into it once they start doing it, and to Shauna's chagrin, right? But at first it's just Shauna is trying to play along, right? So they hug, everybody else is appalled, and then Shauna's being sneaky. She kind of winks at Thaisa. Thaisa gives the worst effort at improv I've ever seen in my life. She is no longer allowed to yes and.
She's not yes-anding at all.
I mean, she's like yes maybeing. She's like so unconvincingly like, yeah, let's kill somebody, right?
one of us should be murdered by the rest of us.
Like
Yes. Yeah.
It's so obvious and bad. And then they have her. They consider having her committed again. Is like the potential plan there. And then we get the intro, which does indeed slap.
I just love the line that Lottie says right before the intro starts, where she says, "The woods will be ours tonight."
That's right. Because typically on
I want more witchcraft Lottie. Just make Lottie full blown a witch, a
Literally.
swamp witch. Make her
They
that.
should
I love
have.
it.
I
Like,
love that.
They call him a coven at one point during this episode as like a
Yeah.
joke, and I was like, oh, I want
That
that.
would've been
I want
cool.
that. I love covens.
Me too.
Horror Story Coven's probably the best season.
I was in one in college.
All right, get out. Yeah, and I just think that would have been really interesting.
My sorority. I'm talking about a sorority. Sorry. Not an actual
Oh,
coven.
I was just gonna go with it.
Oh,
like
okay.
don't curse me. He can't get a piece of my hair to make a doll. I know
do
that.
not shrink
Bald.
me.
Bald. Take one of Steve's feathers.
Then you can fashion some hair with
Make a
this thing.
spell.
Yeah, I'll make some voodoo dolls. Don't
But
worry.
she was saying because Tuesdays the woods are usually Lisa's because she does like a whole thing.
Yeah, that's when they bury naked dudes in the dirt.
Yeah, but the woods are ours tonight. I'll put it on the calendar.
And tonight we shall dine at Applebee's.
And then back in 1996, somebody, they were talking about why was Travis screaming? It's Coach, right? I think it's Coach that asked that, right?
No, Lottie.
Lottie.
Because-
Oh, that's right.
because
It's Lottie and Misty.
Yeah.
Why was Travis screaming? He got to the end of Goblet of Fire. He's so upset.
Cedric Diggory, no!
No. He was my favorite.
I wanted a good puff.
Yeah, you're the last hope of Hufflepuff.
What will they do now? They're just dorks.
And Misty, it's really interesting the dynamic this last couple of episodes that they've given between Misty and Lottie. It took me by surprise. And Misty's like, Because we're going to eat Javi. Like, that's the worst way to explain it ever. There's a lot more to it than that, Misty.
Yeah, she could have had her bedside manner is lacking.
Because
Yeah.
we're going to eat Javi.
Hey, I got
Javi's
bad
not
news.
happy about it either.
I got good news and bad news. Bad news is Javi died. We're all sad. Good news is we're going to eat Javi and we're going to be very happy about it.
Yeah.
She could have chosen a lot better way to explain
This
that.
is, I mean, if you really think about it, Chris, this is Lottie's fault.
That's what Misty says.
That is what
Yeah.
she said.
She turns rabid immediately because Lottie's like, no, why did you let Javi die? Well, I didn't want that at all, right? And she explains the whole game to her that they did with the Queen of Hearts and all that stuff. And then Lottie's not having it. So Misty's like, you started this. You can't fucking back out now. And like, she's very like, I need you to be strong so that because we do it in your name. And I'm hungry.
Which I was so confused about Lottie's headspace here because I'm like, do you not believe that you're getting these visions and connecting to the world? Like, it was just weird that she would say that to Misty and say, why would you do that? You
She
know,
does
blah, blah, blah.
explain it later in the episode
Yeah.
where she's having a crisis of faith because she thought
She thought the wilderness was good.
She thought it was trying to help. It was working towards their best interest, but now she doesn't think
guess,
so because she can't listen to it. She can't hear it anymore because everyone else can hear it.
She's like,
It
it
doesn't
might be
need her
bad.
anymore. Yeah.
Guys, it just occurred to me. It might be bad.
Might be a bad
The
thing.
thing telling us to eat each other and murder each other, I'm not sure it has our best interests in mind.
Not sure. I'm on the fence. And it kind of made me angry though too, because if like Misty is so logical and practical, and it's to a fault, and that's why I love her so much, or part of why I love her so much, right? Like she's got all these skills, and she just gets down to business. Like I got to chop the leg off, guys. I don't know why everybody's being all antsy about this.
Right.
Leg has got to get chopped. There's no right, but all of a sudden she's like this again. But it's like, just eat Crystal. Like why'd you know what I mean? Like you're so about Javi num-nums. You had a dead body. You lost it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
She didn't want people to eat Crystal.
Exactly. Now you're sentimental. All of it. Like Misty's not that
Well,
way.
she doesn't give a shit about Javi.
I know.
She likes Crystal. That's the thing. And like,
She doesn't strike me as the kind of person that would believe that the body matters anymore after death. You know what I mean? That's all. And I know she was a little bit.
I could see practical Misty being like, well, we have to eat this. Or we're I can see her being practical, thinking like we have no food and there's a whole ribeye cut of Javi lying there. I can see Misty making that leap, but I don't. But I think it is a little out of character for her to be like, "What are you doing, Lottie? You dumbass, do your thing." You know, she came off really harsh on her after Misty herself has been struggling the last couple. This is a little odd for Misty, I think. I do agree.
A little bit. I do like the dynamic there that I'll get to in the next scene with
It's like
Lottie
they
and
were
her.
just wanting to rush that to me, all of the dialogue and all of like these things have been rushed. Like just, they needed to get to this tension quickly.
Yeah, they were rushing is a good way
Yeah.
to describe a lot of the issues with this season.
I feel like maybe Misty should not have been that character. Like they could have this exact scene, but you pluck Misty out and you put like Amari in or even Ashana in.
Yeah.
Like someone, I don't know, because it is weird that this information would be conveyed to Lottie through Misty. I don't know why. I think
I
if you
actually
replace
like it because for me, like she comes down after this altercation that
she lies
said,
about
and
it.
she says, Lottie's pleased. And
she's pleased with the wilderness's choice.
Misty's very smart, and she becomes sort of the priest for the god that is Lottie. And like, you know how priests in our world will speak as if they've communed with God.
That's
and
true. That's
the-
a good point.
She's like the Pope now, and I fucking love that because Misty's smart enough to position herself like that.
You've just unlocked a thought for me, Chris, and I'm a huge fan of it. So thank you, because now you've equated Misty to Starscream from Transformers, where she's just always she's the second in command, always angling to be first in command, and that tracks.
Yeah, because later when Lottie gives up her crown, she steps down.
Yeah.
She abdicates the throne. You can see Misty like,
step
oh,
up, like,
I'm ready.
It's my time.
Like anyone would put her in charge.
It's my time to lead the wilderness.
Well, and
My first order of business, we are all allowed to poop in the bucket. Not saying I did it, but we are all okay.
Also, second order of business, whoever we figure out murdered Crystal is hereby absolved of their crimes. Okay, it was probably an accident,
Yeah.
and they probably loved her very much.
And
And we're not eating her either.
yeah.
but also, where is she?
But I don't know. I'm just saying. I want to forgive you in advance. So she's like the priest, right? The Pope.
Which makes sense why she's Nat's best friend in adulthood.
Oh, yeah, because she's going to be, I guess, the right-hand man of the new queen, too.
Yeah.
And they need someone to prepare the meat. So they call on Shauna, and she goes out to cut it up.
Meat girl.
Being Javi, while Travis is still mourning over the body. He's still out there cuddling Javi in the snow.
Yeah, there's a moment where he looks behind he looks back at all of them and they're standing there and he's like, yeah, I'm not going to win this.
Plus, I'm also hungry. I didn't even like him for like most of his life.
Well, when he came back, he was like 3 years older. It was weird.
He was so tall.
I lost so much time.
It's like, I didn't even know it.
And then so they throw
Where did the boy go?
they throw the body on the slab, and Shauna covers her eyes. I thought that was kind of a cool. She's not going to see where to cut, but she feels it out with her hands, right?
Nat covers up Javi. Give him some dignity left.
She does.
Yeah.
She does, which I think was mostly for production reasons. But and then Shauna tells everybody to leave while she works, which is I thought was nice. Like, you guys don't have to be scarred with this. I'm unfortunately the only one that's learned how to do this while we've been here, so I'm cursed.
Yeah.
You guys don't have to watch. And they were like, yeah, good point. We're out. Back in 2021, Purple Misty sneaking around. She
Misty.
breaks into Lottie's office, Charlotte's office. She finds her pills prescribed to
Dr.
her.
Brandt?
Yeah, Dr. Brent. No, not Brenner. Brandt. Dr. Brenner, I don't think can prescribe pills.
I've lost my license. Unjustly so. I mean, I just kept prescribing LSD. And apparently that's a no-no nowadays.
I agree with you. It's unjust. There's a lot of microdosing has a lot of benefits, Dr. Brenner, especially if you
what
have a
I hear.
Nina.
Oh, I'm going to go back into the Nina.
And then she finds a box of phones and a rifle in the locked cabinet. And then someone comes in and they have camouflage shoes and she's scared, but it's Walter.
Walter's in the house.
Elijah Wood.
Slick camo shoes, Walty
Yeah.
Walt. And he's there to help. We cut to Thaisa and Van talking about Lottie and the plan of committing her. They've got a crisis team coming in. And I love adult Van and young Van are a lot darker than I thought they were. Like they are
Yeah.
both very much for the hunt, especially young Van. Like young Van's like later in this episode, she's like, I don't even feel bad about it. At all. Like that dude sucked.
Even old Van, you can see, is also like, I just been lying to you this whole time. I've been wanting to do the hunt.
Yeah.
I've been craving to hunt for a while. Actually,
If we give it what it wants, maybe I don't die from cancer.
that's the only reason I collect old VHS tapes. Is you got to hunt for them.
and I love the hunt.
I do.
We do.
I do. I found True Lies. You know how hard that is on Blu-ray to find?
True Lies?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's super hard to find. They got a new release coming out this year.
I did not know that.
It's a real thing. They're releasing one this year. It's okay now. But she says a really cool line.
My favorite movie is The Hunt starring Betty Gilpin.
Yeah. Like Thaisa says, like she's crazy, right? And Van says, she isn't, or she is, and so are you.
Yeah.
And that's such a great line.
Yeah.
Like we all felt the presence there. We can handle this ourselves to protect each other. We vowed. Like, I feel like it's wrong to just like commit her for
Yeah.
going through the same shit that we're all going through. And I think she's right. And in fact, I think committing Lottie at the end of this episode was pretty fucked up. I didn't like that. Like just sitting, I felt really, mental health's kind of important to me. And I just thought that was kind of a fucked up thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, even though Lottie is very much in need of some lockdown, maybe.
It's like, why couldn't she have gone in Misty's basement?
I lost count. I think three
Well,
of them have
I
killed
think-
innocent people that we've seen.
I think they were kind of backed into a corner with that one specifically because they had called them like, hey, come get her. Called the whatever the service was again and said, hey, no, we're gonna take her to the general. So when the police show up, it's like, okay, we kind of have to take her.
And
to
she's
the
got a
general.
gunshot wound. I don't know how they even explain that.
Right.
She shot herself in the arm.
At that point, I think like it's almost out of their hands. Per
I
se.
guess.
Yeah.
It just seemed it was gross. It was gross because they're like, we're gonna visit you. They're definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You commit Lottie, commit Shauna. Come on,
Yeah.
at least
Commit them all.
Commit Misty.
Callie in advance.
Right.
Just cuts.
That poor girl's gonna have some trauma.
Yeah. Put her in therapy, please.
And we
Put her
cut
on therapy.
Natalie's burning 3 of the queens because you only need 1 queen to do the death game.
Mm-hmm.
And Shauna's prepping her knives. She's even got like the little travel case. I
But she's
like to think she
dull-
brought her own.
She's dulling them.
She is.
Yeah.
Like she just wiped her thumb just to make sure it wouldn't cut.
Yeah.
Clever.
I did
Very
like
clever.
the shot of Nat staring at the card because she remembers that she druid at one point.
Well, and it's funny, standing opposite of the woman who was going to slice her throat. Who was
I didn't even think about that.
dulling the knives, Thought that was interesting.
It is. That is an interesting call out. And then Jeff and Callie are talking about how difficult it is going to be to disappear. We need multiple passports.
Which, real quick, just because that scene happened and there was a moment when Shauna was leaving and they looked at each other, it reminded me of the callback from when Nat said, "Do you guys remember what happened out there, like fully?" Which made me think, which brought me, like, I thought of that in this moment, thinking, oh, will Nat remember Shauna almost slitting her throat and then seeking revenge on her in this hunt? Like that was what was going through my head of like, oh, this is building up to a tense moment between the women.
I didn't even.
Yeah, because we were wondering like how much do they not remember of
because
their time?
To me, they planted that seed and I was like, oh, is this going to evolve into they actually don't remember a lot of the major shit that happened to them out there. And then I don't know if being together like opens up those memories and then they have tension between themselves of like, oh, you tried to cut my throat. You tried to do this. That's what I was anticipating some of that at the end.
That would have been amazing if they had hyped that up. Like we're all just tricking Lottie into thinking that we're doing this. And instead of just randomly everybody kind of puts on their mask and chases her, if they had had like a, like, how does it feel to be the one that, and they kind of like have a tension building up.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what they were trying to emulate in that scene because they do flashback with the card.
It was intercut with the old,
the young children. I don't know. I think it would have been, if that was what they were going for, I would have liked some dialogue to maybe like actually confirm
it was like everything about this season has been like for the most part, almost there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To the feeling that they're trying to convey. It's like, it's almost there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a funny scene with Jeff, like in his own notion of what it's like to disappear.
We
like
can't even Google ourselves.
Can't even Google ourselves.
Or eat at our favorite fast food places.
I can't even watch SportsCenter when I'm jerking off.
I know, which is a joke a surprising amount of people don't get.
Yeah. I do love just the earnestness those emails are because they're usually like really, really nice emails where it's like, hey, love the show. Cool, fun theory. P.S. I don't think Jeff actually jerks off when watching SportsCenter.
I know. I think after he ejaculates, he then watches SportsCenter.
It's a step-by-step process.
Right.
First you jerk off, then you watch SportsCenter.
Exactly.
Okay, we won't say that anymore. We get it now. And then he talks about because Jeff at this point, they kind of drop that plot thread too, where they tee us up for like Jeff kind of being scared of Shauna now. And they hint at it here because he's like, your mom's got a gun. And, she took it off a carjacker, which all of that was funny because Callie's like, what? And she knows it's in the glove box, but they dropped that completely. And I feel like when they pick it back up in 3, it's going to be kind of weird. Like where Jeff's all of a sudden like not vibing with Shauna.
Afraid, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, they pull into the driveway of the Sunshine Ranch, wherever the fuck they're at. And then the Purples approach, as I'm calling them.
The Purples.
And
the purple people.
Jeff gets freaked out, like backs away immediately. And then Kevin and Jay immediately pull up behind him. They're tailing Jeff and Callie.
Yeah.
And Jeff and Callie aren't good at noticing when they're being tailed because they were right there. I love when a normal piece be good at that.
I love when it comes to Kevin and Jay and they're like, do you think they got us?
I don't think so.
No, they're dumb as shit.
And then we cut back to Natalie and Lisa, and she goes to try to save Lisa. Like she knows shit's going to go down, even though they have a pretty rough, shitty plan. She's like, it's probably going to go haywire. You should just get out of here. You should leave. I know you were supposed to have the woods tonight. You booked it, and we stole that.
We took your reservation for the woods.
But don't be angry. I think you should just leave.
We have to bury Shauna in the dirt. That's what we got to do.
That's what I do. I want to be there.
It's just woods, guys.
And then,
it's just woods.
It's just woods.
Just woods. And then Nat thanks Lisa for teaching her about forgiveness.
Trying to,
which
forgiveness is a nice idea.
She was saying this, and in that moment, I was like, I have it written on my notes. I said, if Nat dies, I'll be pissed.
Are you pissed?
Just to give some insight into that.
Oh, I feel like they've been telegraphing adult Nat dying for at least 2 episodes.
Oh, really?
Pretty hard, yeah.
I mean, this was the icing on the cake for, oh, gosh, damn it.
This scene was another one of those scenes where I'm like, they're 90% there, because I love the shot of Lisa with like the purple socks and behind. I think that's like a beautiful shot. Like I just like
Yeah.
of all the shots in the show, I'm like, wow, that's a really good shot. But then the whole framing of the scene is like, hey, don't go into the woods tonight. Okay, well, Lisa's gonna be in the woods tonight. Like it's
Yeah.
one of those things where it's like, okay, well, I can't wait for this to happen.
Yeah.
It's very telegraphed.
Back in 1996, the coach he's hiking around, as it were, and he sees Shauna at the meat shack. And at
Meat
first,
shack,
there's a
baby.
cool moment where I think he thinks that she caught some game finally.
He's like, oh, we got a meal?
Because he's like, oh, fuck yeah,
Thank God,
dude,
hell
I'm so
yeah.
hungry.
I might stay here another night.
Yeah,
I'm not
what
going
the
to tell Natalie about my hole for another day. And then
Ew.
I was trying to let that one go by.
About my hole.
Yeah.
Hello?
News about my hole. Hello? Oh.
Nope.
But then he notices, hey, I don't think the deer was wearing Chuck Taylor's. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
And then he gets upset. He turns around. He sees Natalie approaching. She's got some sticks. She's going to build a fire. And he tells Nat that he knows where Javi was hiding. He's like, you're cool. I want to bring you. You're not like all these other chicks. They suck. And she says, actually, I'm worse.
I let him die.
I let him die in my place.
And Coach is real sad to hear this news. He's like, I liked you. We had moments. We did shrooms together. And then Travis tells Van she should be ashamed. And that's we talked about this earlier, but she's like, I'm not ashamed at all. I don't think you should be either, right? Let your brother save you. Eat him. He would want
like,
you to.
That's some fucked up reverse psychology right there.
And it's weird to be coming from Van. It just seemed like a shock to me. Like I know she's been all in on Lottie for a while, but she's like all in on the wilderness
It's just
now.
a lot of what she's been saying has been very like heavy, dark, not as much like humorous and kind of the comedic relief as she was in season 1. And honestly, at the beginning of this season too, I felt she was kind of comedic relief.
Yeah.
So
Back in 2021, Walter, he's, I think, brewing some tea. We find out later, but it looks like he was cooking at first. He's singing a song. He's humming. Just Walter doing Walter things. And Kevin approaches him, and immediately he just takes control. Oh, wow, a real detective.
I'm a detective too.
Well, not a real one. I'm lifelong asthmatic, which is amazing. Offers him some hot cocoa.
There's practically a coven of them all up to no good in here.
Yeah, practically a coven of them. And again, I don't think it's like, was anyone on Earth thinking that Walter was turning on the girls at this moment at all? I don't think so. I don't even think it's
No.
framed to be
No,
that
as soon
way.
as he handed Kevin a cup, I was like,
Yeah.
he poisoned that cup.
I didn't
Yeah.
think that. I didn't know what his
Oh.
plan was.
oh
but
really? No, I knew that was coming.
He did something to that cup. It maybe not poison, but he
spit
very
in
least spit on it, spit in it.
Don't spit on it, Steve.
Maybe he
That's
put a
different.
laxative in there, and then we did
Yeah.
a really funny scene of just Kevin in the toilet for the rest of the episode,
That would have been better. I honestly think
just
just shitting his brains out.
bear down.
Jay's running around like trying to call him, like, Kev, where are you?
Kevin's like, oh my god.
and then Callie defends her mother to Jeff in the next scene. It cuts back to them outside, and she's like, you started this with the blackmail, right? So she's on her mom's side
It's
there.
literally Jeff's fault.
You try making
All
Madison,
of this is Jeff's fault.
Madison, you try making a living off of sectionals, okay? All right? Then you can judge Jeffrey.
The nuclear family's falling apart. That's why you can't sell sectionals, because there's no big families that need them.
This is the damn nuclear family.
Just single bachelors.
Yeah, I sell nothing but futons, and those are cheap.
Well, Jeff, it sounds like you need to pivot in your business.
Yeah, get a new
Pivot.
job. Don't just blackmail somebody.
Yeah.
Literally.
But he sees Kevin talking to Walter and tells Callie to go find her mom. He's got a plan. He very clearly does not have a plan. Not a good one, at least.
Yeah.
We find out his plan momentarily. But then Walter's telling Kevin about Jessica Roberts and like this whole deep dive thing. Kevin's very intrigued about his citizen detective skills. And then Jeff asks Kevin to place him under arrest. Please arrest me.
I did it.
He admits to Adam Martin's murder. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? At no point does Kevin believe that Jeff's capable of any of that.
Right.
But he does think Shauna has done it, right?
But
Yeah.
you can see in his face where he's like, son of a bitch, I have to arrest you now because you said this, but I don't believe you.
Yeah, you're giving me a false confession.
Oh, man, that's some good hot cocoa.
And at that point, Kevin passes out or dies, and
Dead.
Walter pops out. It's phenobarbital, which he probably found laying around because Lottie has tons of it.
This place is lousy with that shit.
Yeah. Recovering people with just drugs everywhere.
He probably got it because they were in Lottie's office and
That's true.
Yeah,
He
that's where
probably
she
grabbed
keeps the
it from
good
there,
shit.
Yeah.
It's not just in the normal ass kitchen, like right next to the salt.
Right.
And then he tells Jeff, that was a beautiful false confession.
That's beautiful.
Such a crime of passion right there.
I love him more than words can say. And even though they give him this Deus Ex Machina bullshit thing here at the end of this episode, I was still into it because it's Walter.
Yeah.
And I think we had different qualms with that. Like I had no issue with like Walter being the one that saves it over Misty, just because like Misty's capable, but she's too emotionally involved. She's got the wilderness
Right.
clouding her mind
I don't
right
think
now.
it's necessarily like Walter like fixing it. I just think how quickly it was just resolved like that.
Oh,
In
yeah,
the with
Jay's like, oh, you got me.
yeah.
Instead of who the fuck are you?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was like, oh, man, that guy's gonna live. Like I was really
And
wanting
killing Kevin over Jay?
Yeah.
What a wild choice.
I wrote in my notes he didn't deserve it.
They're trying to,
Kevin
like,
did not
they're
deserve it.
begging us to not like these main characters. Like,
I liked Kevin. I'm like, he's
Yeah.
really he's doing
exactly.
his job.
So why are you having them, Walter, a sweetheart, his first real act in the crew is to murder an innocent man
Well, I think it narratively, this trick would only work if it was Jay.
because he's
Like,
crooked.
If the
Sure.
word was turned, Kevin wouldn't probably play along with it.
Sure, but what you could have is then Kevin only accepting it temporarily and trying to work to get out of this
Or
pickle.
it would have been cool if like Walter had called the police and maybe there's a scenario where they're getting arrested, like the two of them in front of everybody else. And
But Walter did call the police, technically.
He did.
yeah, but it's in the mindset of like he framed the dead guy versus framing both of them. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just was like, "Ah, we had to kill Kevin.
So
Come on.
are Kevin and Jay here at the compound thanks to Walter's email from the previous episode when he went to the contact page?
I think so, yes.
He's
But
like,
it's interesting that
I have a hot lead, ... And whoever was
But
at that
no, because
station
they
was like,
followed
they were following
Jeff and Callie.
But then maybe he acknowledged that he was there. So like
or maybe this was him setting up the fact that he's like, I found these money transfers in, like it's him sending them that initial dump of money transfer information to use to frame Kevin.
oh,
Maybe.
like that, like the email we saw in previous episode wasn't going to Kevin or Jay.
No, because
it was just going
to the general
okay.
contact us
I
email
see.
from the
I see.
police department.
Maybe,
see.
but I honestly think it's worse. I don't think the writers thought about
Well-
bringing any of these specific threads together like that at all. It was just like you know what I mean? They're just like the puzzle pieces are like
No, I feel like this show a big.
How'd they go?
they're squished.
I was talking to my girlfriend and she said like her frustration with the show is that she feels like what you said, Chris. The writers aren't putting these pieces together. They're almost relying on the audience to do it for them
Right.
in a way that
Or podcasters.
yeah, podcaster. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We make shows make sense.
Yeah. And then you done?
But no, I agree. Like, but it was just like the intention with what they were trying to achieve is in question. It's like, did they get there because they were following Jeff and Callie, or did they get there because of the email? You good, Steve?
Sorry. Are you done?
I didn't have a better
That was a great
I didn't
segue.
have a better segue.
That's like maybe on the Mount Rushmore of segues, man. You done?
It's like, oh, you think for planes?
yeah. That was so good. Oh, you think for planes? Just Madison trying to work out how my brain could have possibly gotten there without being dumb. Oh,
I don't want to offend you, but are you stupid?
but yeah. So Walter, where are we at? Kevin's dead.
Kevin's dead.
I'm very
He
upset
asked,
about
Walter
that.
asked Jeff to help him move the body, and Jeff's like, what the fuck?
They made
What's
my
going
two
on?
favorite characters murder innocent people in this one episode. I'm not pleased about it. I didn't
Yeah.
think they were like morally good people, but I do think there is a fine line they've been walking with my love for these characters that they're
Yeah.
really pushing now. And in fact, one of those deaths is outright cruel and serves no purpose. But anyway, we'll get there. I have a rant to go on.
I can't
Later.
wait.
But yeah, beautiful false confession. Cut back to 1996. Coach is trying to start a fire in his little clubhouse. He's not very good at it. He's got like a no girls allowed sign outside,
Boys rule, girls drool.
but he's just by himself. God, I wish Javi was here.
Do you think I could get Travis on my side?
Maybe. I'm not.
Coach,
Maybe.
why won't you let me in the clubhouse?
Because you don't know the secret handshake.
Is it a dap? Are we gonna dap it up?
Hello?
Hello?
I know you're not into babes. I don't care.
I don't care about that.
But then Shauna brings in the Javi steaks in the next scene and a fucking heart. I'm not sure
That
why.
was so wild.
The heart thing, I was audibly laughing my
That
ass
was
off.
so
Where did
weird.
that come from?
From Javi, bro.
No, I know literally, but the idea that Travis would bite his brother's heart.
For real thought, the way it was framed, she brings out the platter.
Yeah.
He holds up the heart. He looks at it like, we gave you his heart. And then he took a bite out of it. And I, honest to God, thought one of them was going to be like, no. That's not what, no. No, we just thought it was kind of a symbolic gesture. Like, you have Javi's heart. And, okay. Yeah, he's eating it now. Oh, it's in the saucepan. Okay.
Let's throw it on the fryer.
All right.
Why not?
It just cuts to Van, and Van's like, oh.
Like, they went full Khaleesi out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like when Daenerys has to bite that horse heart.
Well, now we know that his offspring will align the sun and moon.
Yeah, it will
Or
be the
whatever
stallion that
prophecy
mounts the
was.
world.
Yeah, the stallion that mounts the world. Yeah.
Perhaps. I just don't know where this came from.
It was so odd.
It was. They pumped the ritual to 11.
Like,
again.
I almost would have wanted Shauna to say, you know, I wanted to give you the heart because he was your brother. I don't know.
I would have bought it as like
also
a
weird, but it's like
Yes.
somehow
Yeah.
that's less weird than him just like,
Picking it up and
look
eating
at
it.
this.
And it's a raw heart. Like,
yeah, cook that shit. And heart's a muscle, right? So that would be so chewy.
well, yeah, my thing is he could have just held it, like looked at it very dramatically and then like put it in the pan. I almost want to say like him eating it was a rite to passage for the other girls to like put the stuff
because
immediately.
then immediately they do a very big faux pas. All right? They crowd the pan.
Do
Yeah.
not crowd the pan.
Don't crowd the pan. All right, you do not crowd the pan.
Don't crowd the pan.
And so yeah, that was wild. That was
just
out of left
very
field.
Weird.
It's a sports ball reference, right? Left field.
Yes. Good job.
Misty brings Lottie her hobby num-nums, and Lottie's really disenfranchised with her wilderness religion, right? That's what this whole scene is, where she's like, I don't know, I just thought,
Losing touch.
I don't think it's good anymore. I think it might be bad. Maybe.
Hey,
it's at least
buddy.
ambivalent.
I brought you some Javi.
He's delish. Back in
It's
2021.
like eating veal because he's younger,
Okay.
like yeah.
like a baby cow.
Yeah.
Which is what veal is, Chris.
Do you see me almost go lamb?
Like a cow?
Like a calf, you think? Back in 1996, no, we're back in 2021 now. There's a great transition with like from young Lottie, and we get this like really weird song on the soundtrack playing to adult Lottie.
Love
I love
it.
the that music change there.
Loved
That was
it.
so great.
One of my favorite scenes. It was
So
really
good.
good. And it's like a summoning, right? Like she's alive with the spirit again
Yeah.
for the first time in a long time kind of thing.
Like, what if that
we
was our...
finna hunt. You know?
We finna hunt, motherfucker.
We finna hunt.
But if that was our first impression of Lottie,
That
that would have been some sick shit.
Season 2 opener or something, or
Or, like,
end of episode
That's
1.
what she looks like behind closed doors, and then I'm just giving like different thoughts of like what it could have been. But
yeah, writers, hit us up.
Yeah,
Don't just
come
send
on.
me a jacket. Ask me for tips. I got ideas.
But I did
They're on
love that
strike,
scene.
Chris.
That's why they have time to call me now. They have time to rethink season 3. Production has been halted, right? Call Madison.
Call me,
I will forward your messages along
please do.
to Sun.
Did you just blow a feather?
It fell off of me, so I decided
Did
to
a little. Whew.
blow it into the camera.
There was an offering to the wilderness.
It was.
And then we cut to Thaisa on the phone with the crisis team. She's calling them off at Whitlock General.
Hey, guys, you
we're
don't
actually
need to-
going to handle it.
You don't need to come in. God is alive. Magic is afoot. You understand.
Honestly, I don't think that's a thing. I don't think you can call.
God is alive. Magic is afoot.
No. That is a thing for sure. RIP or something. You can't call a team of people to like have somebody committed like that. You know what I mean?
I think you can.
Wait, say that again.
Not where we. Who would you call?
I don't know.
Ghostbusters. What are you talking about?
You can't like have somebody like forcibly admitted to a psychiatric hospital anymore. At least where we live.
Huh.
I work in the field and I
Sure.
have no idea who you would call to do such a thing.
It's not like pest control.
There are places where once admitted, you cannot leave voluntarily, but like
Yeah, I do
mom
know.
has to bring you there. You have to like, you know what I mean? You can't just call a strike force, a psychiatric SWAT team.
I feel like unless
SEAL
you,
Team 6?
Yeah.
could
Like,
you call
your
the police
services are needed.
and say, hey, this person needs
they're
psychiatric
just going to
attention?
take them to jail. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just think it's interesting, the whole crisis team idea. Maybe I'm missing something there, but it's a pedantic nit to pick for sure. But Van's nodding like, yes, call them off. Good. Like Van gets very Order 66 in this episode. It's wild. Feel the power.
Tonight, the woods will be ours.
We booked it from 9 to 11.
And not a minute more.
We have to clean up though. Leave it better than we found it.
Yes, good manners.
And Natalie hides a knife in her coat, which amounts to naught. Very disappointing.
Again, I was like, she's gonna streamline, like try and stab Shauna.
Chekhov is upset with a lot that happens in this season, I think. Not a lot of things are carried through to fruition. The gang all gather around the fire. They made masks. I don't know when, or maybe they just had them stored for
when
other
Van
reasons.
and Ty were talking previously, they were actively making the masks.
They're quick with the crafts.
They were.
They're experienced. It's true. And
They
Van's
look
like,
great.
I'm gonna go back to my old half mask thing because remember when my face was scarred?
He said, "Phantom who?"
Exactly. And then Lottie brings her own knife. Lottie, yaddy, yaddy, yaddy.
Yada, 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 yada,
And she says, it's time, yes. Callie's in the woods. She's got the gun. We don't know why, but she pulled it out of the glove box. She runs immediately into the one person she would not want to run into, which is Jay. Keep your hands where I can see them. You got a gun? Better not.
Better not.
You're not allowed to have one of those. Hold on, I got a call. Worst cop ever.
Don't move.
Don't move, yeah.
Gets a call from pre-recorded Kevin, and it's Walter and Jeff fucking around, pranking him. It's just a recording of Kevin going, what the fuck? Or something. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And then Walter's calm confidence is, I think, what makes him such an attractive both man and character. It's like you can't help the charisma of the fact that he's just got it covered.
Yeah.
You know,
He knows.
Jeff's just like, you think this is gonna work? I don't know.
I don't really know.
He's panicking though. That's good. You know, he's cool with it. Whatever goes down.
Yeah.
He's the type of guy that even if he were to go to prison, he would just make the best of it. You know, like I know how to make. I have the best toilet wine recipe I've been wanting to try.
I'm
will love
picturing Sherlock Holmes 1 with Robert Downey Jr., where him and Jude Law Watson get thrown into jail.
Love that movie.
Yeah. And it's like presented like they're getting beat up with all the guys crowded around him, but it's actually him telling jokes.
Or have you ever seen
That's
the show
Walter.
Reacher?
Reacher?
Yeah, Reacher. Not Reach Around. That's
Like
a different
Jack
movie.
Reacher?
No,
Yes,
I've not.
like Jack Reacher.
I've not.
It's a great show on Prime Video. It's like a dad show. It's like
Okay.
a classic, like man is handsome
These young people
and
gotta
good
get
at
beaten
everything.
up by me, square-jawed white man.
Yeah, exactly. But it's great fun. But there's a sequence where he goes to jail and he's just very relaxed. And like, you know, the whole 6-man gang will crowd into the cell like, you got to pay your dues. And he's just reading his TV guide like, no, I don't. You know, because he knows he's got it handled.
Yeah.
That's Walter. But more
Very
of
much.
an effeminate version, which is even better. But anyway, Lottie is so psyched about the Bloody Queen card.
She's like, okay, everybody.
Like she's like
in
a
a circle.
She's like a shitty death magician. Like, is this your card? You're like, you didn't. It's not the trick. It's not how we do this.
Silly me. I'm just having a good time.
I'm just so happy to be here.
God is alive. Magic is afoot. Okay.
And
Guys, we're the magic.
guys,
We're the magic
That's
and we're
us.
afoot.
Oh my gosh.
and Shauna, who's never trust a casino, she wants to reshuffle.
She's like,
No.
I know the house always wins, all right, motherfuckers. I'm gonna be the house.
She's nervous.
Well, part of me was like, is she trying to tamper with the cards?
I think
Or
she's
is
trying
she
to stall because she
Okay.
still thinks that these people that they called are going to come and
Yeah.
at the last minute and take care of Lottie for them.
Yeah.
So she's stalling.
Yeah, she's shuffling. And eventually, I think Van's like,
Van's like,
yo.
all right.
Van, who I'm convinced is like, I actually want to hunt. So
No,
let's
she
do
does.
this. That's why she
Yeah.
called off the crisis team.
Van 100% wants to
Yeah.
hunt.
Yeah.
Because I think in Van's mind, she believes in this wilderness spirit and she thinks if we give this what it wants, maybe she doesn't have cancer anymore.
Oh, I 100% think season 3 her cancer goes into remission.
Yeah.
And then it's going to drive me insane.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's going to be like evidence that the wilderness spirit is real. And other people are going to be like, well, her cancer just goes into remission. And so it makes you think the wilderness spirit's real.
Well, it's because it's that ore that she ingested. It sometimes props up some cancer.
Are you the prospector?
Yeah, it's me, the prospector. Hello.
You sound like Tony.
Oh, Tony? No, he's a little more high pitched. But I'm
Okay.
no prospector.
Can you do a Bill Nye? I think he has something to weigh in here.
I'm trying to think about Bill. How does
Bill Nye the Science Guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Bill.
How does Bill Nye sound? Let me tell you about how God doesn't exist. Like,
Bow, 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 with like these 90s. Yeah.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
I'm sure he'll pop in.
Yeah.
He's got
Oh my God, the best
Love
days of
that.
school were when teachers were sick.
You
Because we
know
got Bill Nye.
when
on
that
Magic School Bus.
when the thick TV on the roller came in,
Yeah,
it was
thick.
Bill Nye time, baby.
or Miss Frizzle and the gang.
Or
Yeah.
Remember the Titans.
I
I
never
never got that.
Really?
Never got
Never
that in
got
school.
remember
I
the
must have had the best stuff.
You must have had a gym teacher.
I watched that like 9 times. That movie's amazing, by the way. Left
It
side,
isn't-
strong side.
It is a good movie,
Yeah.
but it was never shown in my elementary school.
Oh, you guys missed out on a good day.
I got it. I remember we got the Romeo and Juliet movie from the 60s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
No.
that's not a good one.
I remember it because our English teacher was like, now guys, okay, you're freshmen in high school. I think you're adult enough to know
Oh, high school.
there
Boobs.
is a boob in this. Okay, not 2, but 1.
A singular boob.
Deal with it. We're going to watch this movie. Deal with it.
That's the
And-
one where the actor's like 16 too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
There's actually a thing on YouTube of those two actors talking about how
The whole experience with
the
that.
whole experience and how bad it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll never forget, like, we're watching this movie, Romeo and Juliet, and at one point, the teacher gets up and she slowly
No.
kind of shuffle towards the screen, and then now she's standing directly next to the TV cart, watching it with us, and then the boob comes out and she goes, there it is. We don't have to talk about it. Okay? We saw it. Let's move on.
I thought you were gonna say she like put her
Paused
hand
it.
up.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
no,
over the titty?
No, she literally just went like, "There it is. We're not talking about it." Like, and we're
call
all,
attention to
we're
it.
just kind of like, you just made this so much more
So
awkward.
awkward.
Did the whole thing.
Just let it go.
Did your school always play Green Day on the last day of school each year?
No,
What?
No, but at least once it did.
What
yes.
elementary school did you go to?
No, not high school, all the way through like my entire school career.
Like,
At the end of
you had the time of your life.
yes, at
Yeah.
the end, the last day of every school, the last 5 minutes, all over like the speaker system, the intercom, it would be like another turning point, a fork stuck in the road,
Yeah,
and we'd all,
that definitely happened once.
dude, honestly, fire ass track to play on last day of school.
You know what I think about when I hear that song? When I was in middle school, so like 6th grade, there was a janitor that worked there for a long time, and unfortunately he passed away in the middle of the school year. Right towards the last day of the year, they built a bench and commemorated it to him. And during the commencement ceremony, this one kid had an acoustic guitar and he sang that song. And even 6th grade me was like, I don't know if he listened to Green Day. Odd
Oh,
choice.
man.
Odd choice.
A choice.
I hope you have the.
It was just the
time
other
of
6th
your
grader that knew
life.
acoustic, and that's the only song he knew how to play on acoustic guitar.
That's a banger to learn, though.
That is, yeah.
That's
no,
like
we
day
never
one.
did. We never did like a song over the intercom. Every year, the seniors would do like a drive by, and then we would
Damn,
just, we
you
would
had
just,
a
we would just wave.
rough school.
All the freshmen, if you survived, you made it. You know.
That's American
Hunger
schools
Games.
today.
Yeah, that's the Hunger Games.
That's most schools today, unfortunately.
Yeah, all the seniors were like, "Yes, finally!" No,
They were a bunch
No
of-
more, Mr. Nice Guy. No more.
that's the song. Just mass murder.
Dazed and confused
Yep.
with the paddles.
Yeah, it's like slow motion paddle.
But then, yeah, Van offers to go first, and it gets to Shauna, and then they're like, Lottie's like, are you refusing to draw? You know what happens if you refuse to draw. What happens?
We can't do it.
I have a feeling that'll be.
You know what happens is we don't finish the game.
We don't finish the game, and this is all for naught. We wasted
Like,
our time.
I feel like
scheduled the woods, Shauna.
Lottie is really into board games, and this is all this is. And instead of killing people, if she just got into like Settlers of Catan or something, she'd be much happier.
Guys, I have 2 sheep. Who's willing to trade them for brick? I really need brick.
I'd be so much happier.
I'm going after longest road.
You know what happens if you refuse.
God is alive, magic is afoot. I need longest road, okay?
You know what happens if you refuse to trade? I don't get the brick.
No, but I have a feeling we'll see what happens if somebody doesn't draw. Maybe
I hope so. In the past version,
they just threw that out there just to throw it out
yeah,
there.
again, I think they're making the audience do the fucking work of the world building and a lot of these puzzle connections where it's like, I've got a headcanon for what happens now. And that's all it's ever going to be because they just dropped that line in, is my theory. Not happy about it. Not super sad about it.
Is your headcanon that Lottie is an avid Settlers player?
Yes.
'Cause that's now in my headcanon.
For sure. I just think she'd be a lot happier. She doesn't know that she's just a board gamer.
There's expansions, Lottie.
Yeah, there's
There's
plenty.
the sea and trade
You could
expansion.
join like a Discord or there's all kinds of message boards. You can play
have-
online now.
Someone can make custom hexes for you.
Yeah.
Come on.
She's like, wow.
Mansions of Madness, you could go all out on all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And I wrote my note here. It seems like they're really playing because I started to get that vibe. Like, what's going on here? And it was intercut with their younger selves. And I thought, honestly, this was very effective. Even though
I liked it,
it's
yeah.
kind of quick. It's a good scene.
Because there is a change that happens because Van obviously was on it from the beginning.
Yeah.
She just tricked everybody. Same with Lottie. She was in on it from the beginning. I think halfway through Ty gets really into it almost as like a fuck you to everybody else. She's like, I ain't losing because she realizes that 2 people are playing for real.
Yeah.
And then Misty's just, she's Misty. She'll play along with everyone else, right?
Play with the highest bidder.
Natalie's
whatever.
the shocker, though.
Yeah, Natalie is the shocker.
Like,
but
and it's like Madison said, that would have worked for me if they'd also had her just remembering the knife to her throat. Like, how's it feel?
like,
Kind of thing.
we're gonna kill Shauna? Hell yeah, we're gonna kill Shauna.
But I also feel like she would have gotten over that long ago.
Well, that's
Like,
what,
she was the fucking
or she
antler
would- or
queen
she
for a
would have-
while.
no,
or
that's
she
what
would
I'm
have brought
talking
it up
about.
earlier.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, like the suppression of like these emotions, and so enacting like all of them being together is this idea that, again, this is just me like making up a potential thing that could have happened, but it's like them being together, like Lottie said, is allowing them to remember shit that happened.
Yeah.
And so the suppression is no longer there. The walls are coming down. Memories are coming out. And so now Nat remembers, oh yeah, Shauna, you tried to slit my fucking throat. And so like that would have been what's the word? That would have been like the encouragement for her to
the
go
catalyst.
after. Yeah. to go after
much
Shauna.
better would it have been if they had like made that connection, like they were remembering these things in that moment because now they're together and they're unlocking these memories and Shauna Nat steps up to Shauna is like, I'm gonna have you look at me while I do it. Like it's this
Yeah.
whole reverse thing.
Exactly. Like
That would have been great.
again, that's what I'm talking about.
That would have
Anyway.
been very economical. But Shauna draws the queen, and they all shuffle to grab their masks. Fan's wearing her little half mask again. And then Lottie's like, it's up to you. You can submit or you can run.
The woods are ours, so the boundaries
Yeah.
are the woods.
We do have to
got-
hurry
we
this up,
got-
Shauna. We've got like 45 minutes left.
Yeah. But you got to stay in bounds, okay?
Yeah, you can't go out.
Yeah.
You can't ask for help.
This tree is base.
I know. I was going to say the game is so silly at this point that she could just say shit like Shauna could be
Shauna-
like, my safe tree. And they'd be like,
And guys,
damn it.
I looked at the weather. I don't think it'll be a problem, but if there is lightning, we're going to have to postpone for a half hour and wait.
At least 30 minutes. If Shauna taps you and you didn't realize she was tapping you, you have to freeze for 5 minutes.
But one of us can crawl under your legs to unfreeze you.
Exactly.
Like Shauna could literally have just hit Misty and be like, you're it. And they would have all, I felt like, just turned to her robotically. Like,
Get Misty.
What do we do? She's
Actually,
right.
the wilderness
do that?
chose her. Little tap.
It's a stick. I poked her with the stick. Wilderness stick.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No. Nose cone. And then at this point, Shauna says what half of the audience is still thinking. There is no spirit.
There is
it
no
was
it.
just us. Right? Which is what I think a lot of people watching the show still think. And then, who was it, Lottie?
Lottie. I love Lottie's line.
Is there a difference?
Is there a difference?
Like, it's almost like,
that's chilling.
doesn't matter. Choose what you want to believe. I'm going to stab you.
Right.
Right? which is powerful. I do think that I agree with you, Steve.
Lottie's got to get her cut on. Her
Lottie's got
stabbing.
a yada 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 yada.
Yeah. And then they run off on the hunt. The hunt is on.
This was so realistic, but it was so awkward. But it was realistic the way she's like, I'm not playing. And Shauna starts to walk away from them and they kind of start
Like
gingerly
slowly,
chasing after her.
like 40-year-old middle-aged women just like speed walking down the sidewalk.
It was a super funny visual, but honestly, that's legit what would happen. That's so realistic.
Okay, again, I'm just
There's so many
being
feathers floating above me.
super like smash cut that shit with like them running back in the forest when they were younger. Like I feel like that it would have been so much more intense if they had done that.
Yeah.
Or they did the thing where they stay in the woods that they have reserved, but
They have to.
when they run past a tree in the foreground,
It's the younger
younger selves,
self.
and the younger selves are chasing each other.
Right.
It's now the game
Hire
and their
us.
kids again.
Hire us, man. Gosh.
So yeah, Jay is looking for Kevin frantically at this point. He gets to the car, goes to check the trunk, opens the trunk. I guess he's a dead Kevin and is not as shocked as you would expect him to be. And Walter comes out of
He
nowhere.
may not know he's dead at first.
He
just
kind
thinks
of
he's-
gives that, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, if I open my trunk and there's a body in there,
But he
that's
doesn't
probably my
react
reaction.
when Walter pops 3 caps into his chest either.
Just like pop, pop, pop.
He just like appeared out of nowhere and shot a dead body.
He grabs Jay's gun and fires 3 slugs into the trunk, which we assume is Kevin's body.
Yeah.
And
Then
he's so happy about it too. Like, hi, here's your gun.
Oh, hey, I shot 3 bullets. You're gonna want to file paperwork for that.
And he hits him with the old narrative. That's called a narrative. I know this show doesn't have a great one, but here.
I've got some looks at the camera storytelling for you.
Exactly. There you go, Steve.
Your
We're on the
partner-
same page.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, your partner killed Adam Martin and Jessica Roberts, and unless all those bank phones records lead to you, my man, are you taking the fall for this, or is he?
But close the trunk. The cops are about to be here. So he's like letting him think about it. So the cops have not. Yes, they did. We heard on the news later that they found like the crooked cop stuff and all that stuff. And interesting choice. Interesting choice having Walter do this to Kevin.
yeah.
Not a fan, personally.
It was just very. Let's just swipe it under the rug. Let's just get it out of the way. In my personal opinion.
Indeed. And I think it would have worked with killing Jay. We've all been happy. And then, because I don't believe for a second Jay is out of the show now, right? There's going to be
Right.
more tension with him.
Yeah, I think he's still gonna.
You could
try
have
to-
had that person be Kevin trying to, you know what I mean, get out of this situation.
But I guess my thing is, I just don't want that Adam thing to come back. Like I was already
same.
disappointed that Adam wasn't anything. He was truly an innocent bystander, but then now the story of him has has elongated all of season 2. Is that the right word? I don't know.
Been
whatever.
drug out.
Drug out, yeah. And so it was just fixed by that like quick. I don't know. And at first I had to rewatch it because I was like, okay, that whole thing went over my head a little bit of like, what did he actually do? Like, how does it, like, I was just wondering how this makes sense to like, for the actual blackmail to happen. Or at least, yeah, with Jay and stuff. It just was very weird. And out of nowhere, I was like, oh, I did not see that coming at all.
I think this is a situation where this show has already proven it likes doing this, where it's like, oh, this plot thread isn't going anywhere. We don't like it. People aren't doing, they're not, getting involved with it. Let's just get it out of the way and not talk about it ever again. What? Who's Simone? Don't care. No one liked it. What?
Well, same with
Is Ty a
Travis.
senator? No one cares.
Same with Travis.
Like
Adult Travis's death.
Yeah, Travis, who cares? Like, let's move on. Like, there's this weird sort of, I don't know, if something's not working, they just like throw it under a rug and like, don't look at
That's
it.
another mystery that amounted to nothing.
Literally.
Was Travis. Yeah, that's like the 4th one. Yeah.
I mean,
well.
We can talk about it later.
Oh, well.
Although if there was anything swept under the rug, I'm glad it was the Adam thing, because if I never have to hear the word Adam Martin ever again, I would be fine. I'm fine with that. I just think it's more confusing that all the police that sits at that room's not like, is that Senator-elect Thaisa?
No,
Right.
Doesn't matter.
What's she doing in
Or-
the cult?
Like, I don't really see why this had to be dragged out until this moment. Like, why couldn't this have been a resolution in the beginning? Like, maybe halfway through the season. I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
Clearly.
I have something potentially offensive to say.
Ooh, let me mark it.
Okay.
I'm No, not like that.
Optimistically, let me mark that real quick.
No, I meant like offensive to some listeners, but like, I think I do like the show. But if I had to say, I think the show has kind of went from like prestige, like I really thought this was like Succession, good, you know, for a while. I'm not saying it's not now, but with the level of talent that's in it, I do think the writing was like on par with that. And it has devolved in kind of like a Riverdale type show.
Ooh.
You know, like
We're on the cusp.
it just strains credulity at this point at every turn.
But
I'm also like, I'm not in.
Yeah, like I feel like that is a good way to kind of, I guess, describe my frustration with where I don't want the show to go. Because to me, it's like I feel like we're on the cusp of that, and I don't want to get there. It's like they've downplayed the cannibalism to be so like, oh yeah, we do this. Like there's no, because that was a huge thing in season 1 of like, when are we going to get to this moment? And then we got to it so quick at the beginning of season 2. It's almost become like this not.
I'm going to eat his heart.
Yeah, right. Like
Raw.
shit like that. So that's a good description of like where I don't want the show to go.
And so I'm getting vibes too, right?
Yeah. It's more Netflix Sabrina the Teenage Witch than it is
same kind of vibe.
Succession.
Anything like CW wise or something really is where we're getting into.
Yeah.
But it's like the acting doesn't meet that.
No,
it's
when you have Christina Ricci and Melanie Linsky involved.
All the actresses are killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all doing great.
Yeah.
But the hunt continues after Walter does that whole thing. And then Callie pops out of the woods and shoots Lottie in the arm and says, leave my mom alone.
Get away from my mom.
You're so powerful.
Oh, that was a little weird.
Oh my.
And then, you're so powerful.
Is this your daughter?
But then she's like this because of us, right? And then kind of cuts back to younger Lottie. And then in 1996, young Lottie's being welcomed back into the crew. She comes down from the attic after getting her shit beat in by Shauna. And then they want Van to tell them a story, which I thought was cool because she references The Princess Bride and all kinds of like stories that were adapted into movies and
there
stuff.
Are 3 movies, yeah.
And later in life, she's the movie buff. Yep. And so I thought that was cool. And that was cool. Which is also why the episode's called Storyteller, I think.
But they don't let her tell the story.
No.
They don't.
She starts to tell the story and they're like, hold on, Lottie here.
I have a story about the wilderness. Like, what?
It starts off so foreboding and then it's just like, hey guys, I'm Lottie. I have some shit I wanted to talk about.
I need to say something.
I never want to be in charge. Okay, y'all, I said some weird shit about birds and you guys kind of went wild with it. I wish Laura Lee was here.
Not gonna lie.
She would have helped out a lot.
She was cool.
But yeah, she says how she thought it chose her because she was the only one who knew how to listen, but now she can't hear anymore because everyone else can hear it as well. So she shouldn't be the leader. But it has already chosen the new leader.
Never wanted to be in charge.
And Misty thinks it's her. It ain't.
She's so hyped. So hyped.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say Ty kind of like.
A couple of them lean forward.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Coach is out there looting.
Yeah, he is.
He's getting a hatchet and some matches.
Some rope.
Yep.
I thought he was at first going things to take back to his hole.
I think that's what he was doing because he was struggling with I think what happened was he was struggling getting the fire.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to steal some matches from the girls.
And then while he's there, he's like, actually, I'm going to set this whole bitch on fire.
Well, he saw his friend become the leader of the pack and was like, oh, there's no saving this entire group.
These girls are fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get it.
Hey!
Don't burn my babs.
What do you mean? These are the babs. Okay.
And so, yeah, she basically appoints Natalie as Wilderness chosen leader. She abdicates her throne. She steps down. I don't know the legalities of any of this.
There's a hand holding ceremony.
Yeah, it's a theocracy for sure. I think you'd call it that, right?
Everybody kisses the ring, as it were.
Yeah.
But I mean, she didn't even serve out her entire, what's it called?
Term,
yeah.
Is she a Prince Albert?
Oh.
Was that
Whoa.
I'm pretty sure that's the guy that abdicated his throne, right?
That's the dick piercing, right?
I think that's why they named it that, because it's a insult to that dude, right?
Prince. I don't even feel comfortable saying
So
loud.
Prince Albert.
Queen Elizabeth's dad wasn't supposed to be king. It was supposed to be his brother Albert, who abdicated because he didn't want to be king. He just wanted to have sex with an American woman.
That was divorced.
Yeah,
Correct.
And
that
so
is
he
true.
became king.
Yes,
Yes.
that is what happened. I
So
hear
he
it.
abdicated.
But is it Prince Albert? Is that his name?
That's what I'm looking up now.
Okay.
So I think a character in Legend of Dragoon. Do you remember that PS1 game?
Oh yeah.
I think one of the characters' names was Prince Albert, and as a kid, I was like, teehee. Just want to throw that out there.
Okay, maybe it was Edward.
I think-
Edward the Eighth.
There's got to be a real Prince Albert somewhere.
Yeah.
Edward the Eighth, Duke of Windsor.
Duke of Windsor, the Buttress of Windsor.
His reign was like
6 months. Not even.
well, it says January 1936
Are you
to
a
December
monarch
1936.
I watched The Crown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I watched The Crown.
Are you keeping up on the Meghan Markle and all that stuff? Are you like into it?
Not really.
Our listeners over the pond are like, you better not. It's
better
all
not.
business. You stay out of it.
Okay. Australia.
I don't know how to
Stay
do
out of it.
accents.
Stay out of it, mate.
I'm crocky. Get out of
Crikey,
there.
mate.
Get out of there.
It's the wrong island over there.
Okay, I just looked up
They
why.
stuck us over here.
All the giant snakes and the kangaroos.
Yeah, it's scary.
Oh Jesus!
You
I'm
read-
sorry. I just looked up why is
Are you
the
looking
Prince?
at photos of a Prince Albert?
No, I'm asking why is the Prince Albert called that? Because I knew it was named
Oh,
after a dude.
no.
Okay.
Oh, no.
How did the Prince Albert piercing get its name? The piercing gets its name from a rumor that circulated claiming that Prince Albert, the husband of Queen Victoria, got a penis piercing in his 20s. Historians have never been able to confirm this, but the rumor persisted throughout the centuries. Nonetheless,
Didn't he die?
Interesting.
well, he's
Wait.
very dead now.
Wait.
yes.
Couldn't they confirm
Wait.
upon death? What?
Isn't there a Victoria and Albert Museum in London? I should know. I went there.
In London.
In London, I went there.
Prince Albert was reported to have the penile piercing in order to hang his
Oh my
penis
gosh,
to
this
one
is
side of his
him.
trousers.
Wait, hold on.
That was more aesthetically pleasing.
On my
Nice.
Instagram, I have a picture of
Okay.
Prince Albert's statue from when I was in London.
Oh, it's just a big phallus.
Basically,
It's
most
pierced.
statues look like that because they're made by men. But
Interesting.
yeah, funny we bring this up.
This
Connections.
is piercing things.
Piercing things.
Piercing things.
Where were we at? Why did we say that?
It was you, Nat. You were always its favorite.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So she gets the wilderness chosen thing, right? She
Yeah.
becomes the leader.
Misty
Are we
does a
calling
really
this?
funny curtsy, which makes Nat laugh.
Well, we're not there yet, but that's where we're.
Hold on,
Yeah,
Steve.
if you guys
Hold on,
don't be
see
skipping.
it.
There's a whole 2021 scene. But my question is this the Antler Queen? Are we still thinking that that's still like a different imaginary thing?
I mean, I think it is said to. I think yes, I think Natalie is the Antler Queen.
Do you think we can safely call Natalie the Antler
I
Queen?
think so.
I think we can say that she is the host body of the spirit of the Antler Queen. Like I do think it's a
I
separate
just channeled
entity.
Brian Cox from Succession.
Or at least she,
Wolverine.
until her term ends, she is the Antler Queen.
How long did they
Season
serve?
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At
Sorry.
least 2 dead bodies.
So back in 2021, Lottie's begging them to understand that the wilderness was behind all of it, right? And that's where she says to adult Natalie, you were always its favorite. And then this point is when we get Deus Ex Lisa, who did not leave the woods,
No.
as Natalie asked. And Natalie would fucking be alive if Lisa had heeded her warning.
Yep. Yep.
Just throwing that out there.
Just throwing that out there. Lisa.
And then we cut quickly back to 1996, where Coach witnesses Natalie getting sworn in. And that's where he's very upset. And they all do, yes, formally acknowledge her in their own ways, doing bows and whatnot. And Misty gives it a very elaborate bow. Travis just says, touch my pecs.
Do you
Can you
feel how
tell-
toned these are?
Can you tell I'm flexing right now?
It's not a big deal, but I've had sex with the queen.
Does that make me the first man? Could we change it to the first dude? That's my official title.
The
First bro.
First broski.
First broski.
First
broski.
flex. Who said that?
I humbly accept
He said
this
that.
office.
Nat, you're gonna let that happen? Comedy flex.
I didn't even
Kill them.
try it.
Talk to the
I
wilderness.
forgot about the flex thing.
It was
Talk
a
to the
whole
wilderness.
thing.
Get him. Hey, Pippin.
He cried more about being called flex than when Javi died.
For real.
For sure.
For real.
And like worried about Natalie's body count.
Yeah.
Just a fragile man. That
I was
Travis.
just a boy.
Now I know.
The wilderness made me a man.
Oh my goodness.
Innocent man.
Back to 2021. Natalie jumps in front of the needle to save Lisa. Misty comes in hot, trying, because Lisa's got the gun trained on Natalie. And
Who was she intending on using that on?
Lisa.
No. Like,
Lisa's gun?
Why did she? No,
Oh, the gun?
Misty. Why did Misty have that? Was she intending on killing somebody anyway?
She just always packs that. She always keeps
She's
that
like,
motherfucking
I guess
thing
I
on
need to
her.
always be ready. These crazy bitches always around me.
Yeah. I got the phenobarbital. Your ass is about to get it.
Because I just was like, why does she? What was her intention with having that? You
Just
know,
in case.
I guess so.
That was her knife.
Probably for a backup for Lottie or something. You know?
Sure. Like, why not just tranquilize her? Just quick little horse tranquilizer.
There
get
wasn't
her.
any trank in Lottie's cabinet.
I guess not.
Lottie,
all we got.
Lottie parties hard.
Yeah, she does.
Lottie don't
Yada
play
yada
games.
yada yada yada.
Oh, man. And so she kills Natalie, right? And then we see adult Natalie with Javi on the plane. Then Lottie's on the plane for some reason, even though she's not
Yeah.
even dead. It's not evil. It's just hungry like us. And then suggesting that if there is a wilderness spirit, it's not malevolent or benevolent.
I was
just
completely
is.
confused by that.
Well, every time someone has gone into this in-between place, all of the girls are there in some way, shape, or form.
That's true.
yeah.
And then she, the cops say that she died of a drug overdose. I don't know how they explain Lottie's gunshot wound. Doesn't matter. And Walter approaches Misty all happy. He's like, I've taken care of it. And she's like, I killed my best friend. He's like, oh, bringing the mood down. What happened?
Oof.
And then Jeff tells Shauna that it's going to be okay.
Long story.
Long story, but it's going to be cool now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Shauna's like, I don't think it is. Other things have developed, right? And then they tell Lottie they're going to keep you for a little while, which is very, I don't like that. Like I said, I've talked a lot about this moment for
We'll
me.
check in on you.
Yeah.
And then Lottie says, it's pleased with us. You'll see, right? And I
And
think
then-
she's talking to Van, I think, about the cancer.
But then it
Yeah.
focuses on Callie. Like she says that. I think you're right, Chris. Like
Yeah.
she's talking to Van in that moment. But then the camera cuts to Callie and it really kind of circles around her for a bit, almost as if to say Callie's going to be the
Something.
focal point of whatever we just did in the next season.
like you're in this now
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Well, even Shauna, there's a moment where Shauna looks at her daughter, and at first I thought, oh,
She is powerful.
Well, I was gonna say she had that realization
Goddamn, she been
with
working out.
with the goat. She had the realization with the goat, and she, I don't know,
That she
just,
never let her daughter in her heart
exactly,
fully. Yeah.
exactly. And so there was a part of me that was like, she's gonna hug her or like
Do something.
So do something. Because I just was like, ugh, she literally shot a woman for you, your daughter.
Yeah, she
and
loves
you're
you.
and you're not giving her anything. Like I was like, you had a moment. You had a moment where you could have shown some sign of love and you didn't. So
You had an opportunity. But she's
You did.
cold. She's like, watch this drive. Out of nowhere.
yeah.
Back in 1996, I did love this. Shauna's journaling.
I like that too.
And she wanted to be the leader.
She did.
I used to think it was Jackie that made me feel small, but it was ... She doesn't get to finish because she smells or sees the fire at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think she was going to write? Or does it matter? Do you
I'm
think
not
it was like it
sure.
was me? Or
I don't know. I don't know if
It was
Shauna's
Nugget?
more self.
Hey, you leave Nugget out of this. R.I.P.
I don't know if
sweet prince.
Shauna is willing to admit that it's her. I think maybe I don't know. I don't know what she's gonna write.
Yeah.
I feel like they could
She
go
was-
either way with that.
I love
really.
that she was about to have some kind of like self-awareness and then
Yeah.
for plot reasons, no.
Absolutely not.
It's just like real life. But yeah, she's like, guys, wake up. I'm French Canadian. And then the cabin's on fire.
The journaling helped.
They're all. I learned this about myself. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
That's why.
C'est quoi? The cat's the only French I know. The cabin's on fire. They're all locked in. They all run out while it burns.
The doors are barred shut, though, so they have trouble getting out.
They axe it out. They each grab a blankie because it's cold. But they're probably warm for the first time in a long time.
They're like,
And
"Ooh,
then-
let's take advantage.
Yeah.
Let's leave it. Let's
Take
lean
advantage
in.
that way you can.
Lean in a little bit."
Coach just got so mad. He was like, you all, I mean, he's like trying to burn the witches. There's another witch imagery here, right?
Yeah. Burn them alive.
And then I thought that I just wrote, that was a good ending, pulled me back in. Because now, I'll tell you this, I'm upset. But I think Steve's right. Like the writers do have a tendency to kind of push plots away. Like, okay, this isn't working. We've been pouring through the subreddit all day. They're not happy about this. So I think there's like the idea that now they don't have the house to live in. So they're going to have to get more primal.
More feral.
Yeah. And also we'll get rid of the fucking snow, most likely, right? So lemonade, sundresses, all that stuff will be back. And we can just move on. I think that's more interesting. Like we get rid of the snow, we get rid of the house, and we start fresh with season 3. I'm in.
You give them more adversity to face.
Exactly. So I liked this because I was kind of not feeling it until the house burnt down, you know?
Well, to be honest, like I have been intrigued with the younger timeline.
Yeah.
The whole time. I feel like the younger timeline has been, I mean, here and there, I'm like, what are y'all doing?
I agree.
But for the most part, I'm like, I'm invested. Like, this is some pretty crazy shit that they're doing. It's the adult timeline where I'm like, the juxtaposition of the two has been really weird with
Walter
pacing.
is fucking carrying my give a shit for the adults.
Yeah.
That's Misty for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of a bunch now. But
Yeah, they're
sure.
But
package deal.
Yeah. Well, can I say something? So
No.
I wish you would.
wow, thanks.
Of course.
But there's only so when there's the wide shot of all of them looking at the burning cabin, I only see Melissa, Van Ty, Nat, Travis, Misty, Shauna, Lottie, and Mari. So I was like, where's Jen and Akila? Because I didn't see them in the wide shot.
Oh, you think they're crispy, or do you think they're shady?
I don't know. I don't think they're
Or do
shady.
you think it was just a mistake?
I don't know if it was continuity.
Here's my question.
I don't know if they were like behind them, but it just felt weird that we didn't see them. And I don't know if it was intentional to be like,
I'm going to bring it up.
I don't know if it was intentional because in the past they have kind of blurred out, you know, who all is there to, you know, potentially
To add
bring
characters later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, is this an intention of that like idea, that strategy? But it was just very interesting. And also, aside from that, they do kind of a zoom in on the girls' reactions, and you see Lottie.
Lottie looks happy.
Lottie is doing a little laughy laugh.
She's elated.
Yeah, and so I'm not entirely
Cornholio
sure
style.
where.
That's a deep cut.
So I'm not entirely sure why that is happening.
I think she wants free of this curse. Like, again, she's in
Maybe.
a disenfranchised.
And then also, really quick before we dive into the picture, it like zooms out into like a full aerial shot of the wilderness,
Yeah.
and you just see this giant heap of smoke. I'm like, smoke signal? Question mark? Could that not be seen from like miles away?
We don't know how deep in this wilderness they are.
I mean, I guess that's true.
You know,
I mean, I
Canada's a
guess
vast
the aerial
place.
shot does kind of help with that. But in the same respect, it's like if that plane was going somewhere, like I don't know how veer off the path would have been, but you know, I'm sure other planes are taking that same route. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
a
going
good
a little.
point.
I'm going a little too deep into
good
it.
point.
But Steve, share the photo of.
Okay, so
The girls.
here's the photo. Madison is 100% right. Akila's definitely not there. Who was the other one that you said wasn't there?
Melissa
Jen.
or Jen.
Melissa is on the far left.
Oh, okay, with the hat. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if one of them's munchking it, like in the
They're
underneath,
behind them all.
behind them all. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
We don't see Jen. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, those are the only two missing. So
But Lottie's so happy.
Lottie is like, oh, finally.
It's an interesting thing. So here's my question. I have a couple of questions. Do you think the coach with the matches and the hatchet is just a really clumsy red herring? And
What do you mean?
Someone else set the fire?
Oh no, he definitely set the fire. He locked
Okay.
the doors. He waited for them to go to bed.
Tied
and
'em up.
locked. Yeah.
Do you think coach is alive in the present timeline? Because I think that my wish for that to be true is more likely than ever now. Because like he separated himself from them, maybe he just hid out in the hidey hole, and he's just somewhere looking like Lieutenant Dan,
New legs.
filled
Lieutenant Dan, new legs.
Got my sea legs.
I don't know
You ain't got no
because
legs,
we
let's not die.
didn't see him. So at the very first episode of season 2, we see the girls coming back
Just the
on
briefest
the plane.
moment,
It
yeah.
is very brief, but I didn't see him. I have a hard time imagining him surviving, like the girls getting found and him not, and also like I feel like Ty's investigator would have she would have kept ties on him or found him somehow, because he would be the worst like asset to them. Like I think he would expose them in the future.
He wouldn't protect them.
No, he would say what happened.
True.
So we did get an email from Carl DeMartino. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, Carl. But Carl writes,
Carl.
"Hi guys in Madison. It's Carl from Madison, Wisconsin.
Hi. Pay my taxes.
Longtime listener, Discord, and Patreon supporter. First time emailer. Not a fan of emailing, but I have to point something out. In the season 1 finale, while the girls are looking at the memorial in the case, there is a picture of an older coach with a West Virginia jacket included. So he must have lived and died after they got back. I think so. He's sharing a photo.
That's Travis's dad.
That is Travis's dad, but there is no memorial for Coach Ben in there,
Is that what he's saying?
implying that Coach Ben survived.
May have survived.
Oh,
Because everyone in there, other than the team photo, is dead. You know what I mean?
that's true.
So that is a good pick, Carl. Thank you for sending that in. But yeah, I don't know. I think it would be fun.
Fun.
If Coach is still around. In the modern day timeline,
I just don't see how he wouldn't expose them.
I'm telling you,
or he's still out there.
he just now
living in the
gets
tunnels.
out of the woods. And he's
Oh
been
my
in the hole
gosh.
for 25 years, and he looks like Robin Williams from Jumanji. He's got the grass pants, and he's
What
like,
year is it?
year is it?
Maybe it's one of those things where like the girls, Natalie obviously has been told by the coach and Javi that there is this secret place that they can survive. So I think season 3 will start, or there will be a moment where they're looking for this place.
Yeah, because now they don't have a house.
Well, and I think there's going to be a conversation. How did the fire start? What happened? I'm sure there'll be some investigation that goes into who started it, what started it, whatever. Maybe there's a moment where the revenge of the situation is they find the secret place, and instead of like killing the coach and eating him, maybe there's like this, you tried to fucking kill us. We're going to like do some crazy shit to you.
We're going to take your whole.
We're going to take your other leg. Or
Phrasing.
some shit like that. So I don't know. I think there might be some potential torture there. I think that would be interesting, honestly. Like they come together and they're like vengeful for how he tried to kill them all, and they like try and torture him. I don't know. I think that would be interesting.
Poor coach.
But I don't think he's alive in the future. I don't think he makes it.
I just think that's the most compelling. If they're going to add a major factor to the adult timeline to increase interest.
Because
that's one.
That's another issue I have. I'm like, what are they going to do in the adult timeline? Like, what is there to be done?
We're
there?
gonna break Lottie out of prison, guys. Let's go.
Yeah.
Ooh, turn it
Misty,
into like
you
a heist.
son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, a caper.
But part of me is like, what do they need to go back to the cabin in the wood? I guess no longer. Cabin's not there
Yeah, no
anymore.
cabin.
Like, are they going to revisit the wilderness as adults to kind of like go at this head on? Or, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what is in store for the adult timeline. Not sure.
We don't know.
A lot of stuff, a lot of questions.
But let's get to the choice cuts. What are your top 3 favorite moments of the finale? Madison, number 3. Start us off here.
My number 3 is when Walter is giving Matt a choice with Kevin's death. I thought it was very interesting. Like the resolution of Adam Martin's situation, it was very quick, but I was like, Walter is awesome, and he came in and he saved the day. And it was just so nonchalant with him pulling the gun out and shooting Kevin in the back of the car.
Pop, pop, pop.
Yeah, so that's my number 3.
Steve, you're number 3.
My number 3 is a very small moment, but it's at the very end when Walter comes up to Misty like, hey, I took care of that situation. And Misty just says like, Walter, I killed my best friend, and starts crying and holds him. I don't know, like that's been such a big part of Misty's arc this season, is accidentally killing her best friends. And she repeated the same mistake again in the adult timeline. And just, I think the performance that Christina Ricci gave was really heartbreaking in that moment. And I do like how Walter went from like, hey, I did this thing for you, to instantly just like consoling her and didn't I don't know. It was, I just like those characters. And I thought that was a nice little bookend to her character arc this season. Specifically that part of it.
Yeah, I didn't get to talk about it much, but that's why I hated that so much. That's so cruel to the character of Misty to have her accidentally killed Natalie. Like you could have killed Natalie. And
It's very cruel. But if someone's going to kill Natalie, I think it's devastating if it's her.
It's just mean.
Yeah.
But my number 3 is Walter. Well, the fact where Kevin passed out and then Walter pops out. Like, I loved your fake confession. Like that whole scene.
Crime and passion.
I loved it so much, and I love Walter so much, and I didn't expect it. I didn't expect that. Maybe I'm dumb, but when he poured him a cup, I didn't see that. I didn't see that happening because Kevin is a good guy.
He is a good guy.
I mean? So that was a shocker.
Team Kevin. Didn't deserve it.
You're number 2, Madison.
My number 2 is Lottie's Supreme Witch moment in her office. That shit was so, I loved it. I just was like, Lottie has been kind of annoying me this season, but I really liked her just embodying this, what the wilderness voodoo, I don't know, but it was just, I really liked it. I liked the music choice that they had for it. And it was cool to just highlight that moment because they could have not included that at all, but I liked it. That's my number 2.
Steve, you're number 2.
My number 2 is your number 3. Walter popping out and helping Jeff right after Kevin kind of passes out. Just seeing Walter just being a little rascal, his little citizen detective, was a lot of fun. That was the fun part of this episode was Walter sleuthing, and it is a little Deus Ex Waltery, but it was still fun.
Yeah,
in a way,
super fun.
So at least it had that going for it. Chris, what's yours number 2?
My number 2
Yours number 2.
Mine's number 2's is the card drawing, intercut between the adults and the younger versions of themselves where things kind of amp up and you realize, Shauna's starting to get scared and like, where's the crisis team? And it starts to slowly become a real death roulette game of old. I just thought the editing there was really well done and effective. And I agree with you guys. I wish they had kept that up throughout the chase. But yes, that moment was cool. Well executed. That's my number 2. Madison, your favorite moment of the finale?
My favorite moment is your number 2 moment, which is the drawing of the cards. As adults, for the same reasons that you liked it, I liked the interplay between their younger selves, and it was one of the more intense sections of this episode, and I liked it. I liked how high stakes it was, and then, for Shauna to pull the Queen of Hearts and for a split second, I'm like, ooh, maybe Nat will like finally seek revenge on, what happened in the forest, blah, blah, blah. But that was my number 1.
Steve, your number 1?
My number 1, I think, is Madison's number 3, and that is Lottie vibing to God is Alive, Magic is Afoot. Like something about that song, the way they edited into the show, because it starts off kind of like stuttery and like ethereal and distant.
Yeah.
And then they slowly bring it in and you kind of see Lottie just kind of slowly kind of losing herself to that song. But really it's the spirit of the wilderness. I thought that was very perfect. And if they nailed something 100% in this episode, it was that sequence alone.
Yeah.
That was perfect. I love that very much. So that's my number 1.
Very much.
My number 1 is a moment I don't even think you guys liked. But it's where Natalie comes in and asks Lisa to please leave in order to save her.
That was a good moment.
It was a good moment. I just was like, this is foreshadowing her death.
Yeah. Well, I took it like, honestly, I thought Lisa was going to die. And so I thought it was actually, it sounds weird, but I was actually relieved when Natalie jumped and saved her because I thought Lisa dying would have been so hokey. Because I read that moment as a telegraph, but for Lisa, you know what I mean? I never thought in a million years they would take Juliette Lewis off the show. She must have wanted to leave or something. Because she's one of their biggest stars by far. It's a lot of street cred Juliette Lewis brings.
Yeah.
But for her character, someone who hasn't allowed herself to be close to someone other than Travis for the last 30 years, who comes from so much trauma and mistrust, to have really, like throughout this whole season, she's been defending Lisa to her abusive mother. And, she just sees something of herself in her. And she just wanted to take that moment. And it was so sad because she's in recovery too. So that's partially why I love the character of Natalie so much and I identify with her. And so at this moment, it's very sad because she's saying, Natalie almost became happy. Like throughout these last few episodes, we've seen her sober up and like think that recovery was possible and really kind of buy into Lottie's therapies. And so it's so heartbreaking to see, for her to like see Lottie specifically, but everybody devolve back into this wilderness bullshit. Mm-hmm. And so she's kind of giving up on her own life in that moment, but she's like, wants to make sure that Lisa has a chance, you know, and it's so heartbreaking when she says like, you know, forgiveness was a nice idea. And thank you for trying to give that to me, but I'm not capable of receiving that. Which is why I think this episode is really cruel. Like, cause it kind of puts Misty back in that situation as soon as she kind of sniffs a moment of healing. The person she actually likes is just another murderer, and she's going to kill her best friend, right? And the moment we see Natalie kind of attempt to grow as a person, we just have her realize that people like her don't get better, and then she dies and sacrifices somebody else. It honestly kind of fucking pisses me off.
Well, I just was like, it would have made better tension between the adult timeline if Misty did kill Lisa, because then at that point it's like you have Nat who has, you know, she let Javi die for her. You know, I feel like the juxtaposition of Lisa dying because Nat had that connection with her would have made so much more sense with her becoming the Antler Queen in the young timeline. Because, you know, she's being honored with this moment of like, I guess, hierarchy or whatever in her younger self. But, you know, in her adult self, you know, she's experiencing kind of the same thing that she experienced with Javi dying.
Yeah.
Or...
But it was kind of cool because it was like Natalie's last defiance of the whole game, you know? I don't know.
I think you're right, Chris. That is a really nice scene. And I do like that scene a lot. And just the delivery of like, forgiveness is a nice idea is really, really touching. That did remind me of something we didn't talk about in the end though. And that is what happens to Lisa?
She ran off.
Did she like,
she ran away.
Just ran away?
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't.
She would have a thing or two to say to the cops.
I didn't know
she.
100%.
I didn't see her run away. So the whole time that ending was happening, I'm like, where's Lisa? Come, like these bitches. They rented out the woods from underneath me. Okay,
first off,
we were going to do the burying a guy in the dirt thing. Okay, that's crime number 1.
Yeah,
it's
you
11:30.
Said 11.
We got lights out at 11:15, okay? And these women are chasing each other in masks, which, by the way, did not make those in craft.
Unsanctioned masks.
Unsanctioned masks. Oh, yeah, and I shot her. Or no, Callie shot her. But I had a shotgun.
Yeah.
And they were going to stab me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
she was getting real stabby.
Like, I don't know if there's going to be a moment.
It's the second time Lisa almost got stabbed.
Yeah.
First time was a fork.
Well, technically, she did get stabbed. First time.
Yeah.
But just very shallow. It's a very shallow stabbing.
Scratched.
I don't know. The whole Natalie sacrificing herself, it did make me mad. And I think it had something to do. Sorry, I completely shifted gears.
No,
there.
I just, when you said that for whatever reason, I just thought of Harry Potter going, she's going to sacrifice herself.
Once I make my move, you're free to check the king. Run.
No.
What is it?
He's going to sacrifice himself.
I don't know. I think it had something to do with maybe a production thing. Maybe Juliette Lewis wanted to be off the show, or I'm not sure exactly. I think, I don't know, maybe tea will come out later. I don't know if there is tea to talk about, but I'm sure an explanation for why that happened.
Just don't drink tea from Walter.
Right.
Or cocoa.
Cocoa.
Or cocoa. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was weird.
Candy Hoozle. Time for honeycombs,
Definitely
right?
wasn't expecting it, though.
No.
I will say that.
I don't think anybody could have predicted the death of adult Natalie.
No.
Honeycombs. Music and stuff and tidbits, right?
I only have music.
I have 2 songs.
I have music.
Really?
I have a couple movies.
Lay on the, well.
Oh, the storytelling movies?
Yeah.
The storytelling movies were Princess Bride, Truth About Cats and Dogs, and While You Were Sleeping.
I'm going to throw Cranberries out there.
Zombie.
Was that the song that means so much to you, Steve?
No, it was not.
I know.
But although I fucking
Bunny Men,
love
right?
the Cranberries, right?
The Cranberries are great.
Yeah.
I also love Miley Cyrus's cover of Zombie by the Cranberries. So good.
How about this Sad But True cover we got?
I know.
Was that your
Yeah.
song, Steve? Is that special?
No.
You love Metallica?
I mean,
Sad But True. It's Echo, right?
well, okay, so The Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen. is the song that plays at the very, very end when the cabin's on fire. And I do love that song.
Oh, that's
a
not
bunch.
it?
There's two Killing Moon songs, by the way.
Nouvelle Vague covers the Killing Moon, and that plays when I think they are all bowing to Nat.
Correct.
Which is kind of fun because the song is about how you can't do anything about dying. Like it's pre-written, and so it's fun that it's interesting that they put that when she's being coronated. Like you're gonna die soon, no matter what you think. You have this exalted station in this coven. You're still gonna die at the end of this episode. But the reason why this song is very important to me is because some of the patrons might remember Andy and I did a very special viewing of Andy and I's college films.
Oh.
And I have I did a movie in college called Blue Moon, and I really wanted The Killing Moon by Nouvelle Vague to be the ending song because it's kind of just fits the vibe that movie had, and I love that song. And I actually reached out to the band to see if I could get the rights to put it in my student film. Cause thinking I'm a college student, they're gonna be like, sure, college student, and they're like, sure, for $15,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I won't do that one then.
Wow.
But I do love that song.
At least they responded.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that band,
I asked,
all they do is do covers of 80 songs, but do it in a super kind of witchy, creepy way.
I asked Black Francis to use a Pixies song in one of my films.
How'd that go?
He didn't answer. So
Oh,
that's what I'm
well.
saying. At least they were like $15,000.
Yeah, that's true. They are, to this day, still the only band that has ever responded to any of my requests.
He just said, I believe in Mr. Greaves. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that means.
And then he signed off, La La Love You.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's all the stuff, right?
There's God is Love, Magic is Afoot by Buffy St. Marie.
Yeah, how could you forget that one? There's
then-
Street Spirit by Radiohead.
Yeah, I like that one too. And then there's, you mentioned the two Killing Moon songs. Yeah.
And Walter is singing Send in the Clowns by Frank Sinatra.
Oh,
I know
Is that what
Frank
he's-
know
Sinatra.
that.
While
I know
he's cooking?
Yeah, I know Frank Sinatra sings that song. I don't know if he's the original artist of Send in the Clowns, but that's who I thought of. But that is the song.
heck yeah.
It's time for our buzzworthy performance. And is there anyone else to give it to than the obvious send-off Streamy? Or no?
I think I gave it to a different person than you.
Uh-oh.
I gave it to Juliette Lewis, who I thought was phenomenal in this episode, but also is dead now.
Yeah.
Well, Juliette Lewis isn't
She's
dead now.
fine.
She's fine.
The version of her character, correct?
I
Just to
mean,
be very
As
clear.
of this recording, Juliette Lewis, totally okay.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like it was kind of hard to pick.
It always
really,
is.
for me.
Performances are the one thing you can never knock in this show.
I throughout the whole show, I had Juliette Lewis as my number one, but then I changed at the end to Christina Ricci because I think her performance with, Natalie passing away, her come to realization, oh, she killed her best friend.
I'll never fight a Christina Ricci Streamy.
Yeah. So that's
That was a
who-
very good performance.
Yeah, but Juliette Lewis was mine until the very end.
Well, I picked Sophie Thatcher.
That was another good one.
Yeah, because I thought she was doing
True.
a lot of great work, very understated work in the beginning with her and Travis, and then when she was getting coronated and all that stuff. And then her work with Coach Ben when she was like, "I'm worse than them."
Yeah.
I thought she was great, but really, Juliette Lewis, amazing choice because she's always phenomenal in the show. Like everyone, all the actresses are like
Killing
crushing it.
Killing it.
Every
Sophie Thatcher's
episode.
got a movie coming out
Boogeyman.
at the Boogeyman at the end of this week. So
Love her.
maybe since we're seeing Into the Spider-Verse early or Across the Spider-Verse, we could go. I could go see Boogeyman.
You can hop over to the Boogeyman
I
premiere.
can boogie on down.
Boogie on
Say,
down.
Yeah,
Hey,
just-
Sophie. What's up?
What up?
What up, girl?
No, that's my nux. But that's it, baby.
Yeah, that's it for season 2 of Yellow Jackets.
Real quick.
Let's do it.
Can I just say I have had an amazing time covering Yellow Jackets. Thank you guys for
Aw.
asking me to do this. And to show my appreciation, I actually have a gift for you guys I wanted to give you on
No.
the show.
What? The
Presents?
gift was you.
Yeah, you are the gift.
So I'm going to give these to you guys face down,
Okay.
Okay.
and you have to look at them at the same time.
Oh, okay.
But I had some help with these.
All right.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Take a look.
It's upside down.
Oh my gosh. That's so cute.
Oh, this is adorable.
Bear down,
Bear
the
down-
baby.
The baby. And it's Nugget saying it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna hold this up to the camera so people can see. Chris, describe it.
It's a drawing, as they would say in London, right? Or a painting.
A print.
It's got all kinds of nuggets throughout our shenanigans from this season. Steve's got the there's a Steve's on-air thing in the back in the cabin.
I didn't even notice that.
Look at this shot. I know I can't see as the light kind of hits it. I
It's
see
a little
more.
dark, but so I'll point out some of the
Caligula.
things. Yeah, there's
a Sam Raimi ghost.
so it has us sitting in front of the Yellowjackets cabin, RIP.
And you're wearing your jacket.
So we are all wearing Yellow Jackets themed clothing. Streaming Things is etched into the tree, similar to the symbol. The on air is like pinned on the cabin. There's antlers, and there's little call outs from things that we would say on the show by the different.
The bear is saying bear down.
Yeah. But yeah,
I love it so much.
Yeah,
Oh my God, I love this.
My best friend Maddie helped me bring this to life.
Shout out to Maddie.
Yeah. She actually does these for, you can, if you would like one yourself, you can reach out to her. Her handle on Instagram is @MaddieCapel. But yeah, no, I really appreciated this experience. I'm excited to be continuing with you guys with the next show.
Yeah, I don't know if people know or not. Madison will be sticking around. She will be here for like 19 out of the 22 Lost season 1 episodes.
There are 25 episodes in season 1.
Whatever.
of
22
stuff.
of them then. It's great. More Madison.
Yes.
And then, so we're doing, just to remind everybody, Mission Impossible Mondays leading up to the release of Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Yeah, baby.
So we're going to revisit all the Mission Impossible movies on air. And Madison will be with us every week for at least one episode of Lost. We'll probably be watching 2 episodes a week of Lost eventually to speed things up there.
After
if
Mission
there's
Impossible.
enough listeners for the Lost coverage, we will continue on to season 2 of Lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea. But if there's not, we're going to call an audible and we'll go back to Fantasyland or something. Who knows? But we're also going to be covering every Thursday. Steve and Phil will be talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds. For those that want to watch through season 2, they'll probably do a quick season 1 recap discussion
Where my
as well.
trekkers at? My Trekkies/trekkers. Where you at, baby?
And we're also going to have crossing streams for those who remember the days of yesteryear before Stranger Things 4. So longtime listeners will know we do these little quick episodes where we talk about a bunch of random movies and shows that we've been watching, which will be great for me because I can take all of the stuff that I cover on my TikTok channel and my YouTube and stuff and bear down on it on this podcast. Because I watch pretty much every movie and show that I can. And I never get to mention them on here. So, any hoozle. That's what's looking like for the future.
But we are taking a week and a half break. So
vacay.
Wednesday, you will get an episode we had on Patreon. Next Monday and next Wednesday, we will also be releasing a formerly exclusive Patreon episode. And then that following week is when we will come back with all this content.
Coming in hot.
Are we allowed to say what we're doing? Or is that a thing we're not allowed to say?
No, we can.
You say it.
Are you talking about like literally tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason Steve's prep time got cut down, as you're listening to this, we are currently en route, en route, as Enza would say, I think, to Los Angeles, California, the city of Lost Angels. And we're going to go to the Across the Spider-Verse world premiere. We get to walk the red carpet and
So exciting.
hang out with Oscar Isaac and Haley Steinfeld and Chris and Phil and the gang. Lord and Miller, those old chaps, good friends of ours.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild how much, our lives have changed over the past couple of years,
Yeah, it's insane.
Like I was
who would have
texting-
thought a year ago that we'd be in this position.
I was texting Steve, I think it was yesterday, and I was like, hey, Sean Whalen wants to get some lunch, like actor Sean Whalen that was on the show for the Twister episode. And he was like, yeah, I think we can do that. And then I was like, plus the Russo brothers were wondering if we could swing by Agbo. on Tuesday if we have time.
Shut up.
And Steve was like,
For real?
Yeah, I think so. And I was like, can we just fucking marvel at this conversation
Whoa,
we're having right now?
I didn't know that.
Funny. You texted me that.
That's awesome.
When you texted me that, I was like rushing. So I
Steve
was
literally said, if we have time.
and I literally said, if we have time. And then after I said that, I'm like, what the fuck did I just say? Like, if we can fit the Russo brothers into our schedule.
I
What
assume
the
they'll
fuck am
be
I
there.
saying?
They own the studio. But
Dude,
it was,
that's awesome.
I messaged the person who runs the Agbo social media account, which I'm not friends with, but we have a parasocial friendly relationship. And she had said, if you're ever in LA, let me know. So I messaged Agbo and said, hey, I'm actually going to be in LA. And she said, swing by if you can. So I assume the Russos are there. I mean, they own the place. But I don't want to give the impression that like the Russo brothers were texting me or anything.
Yeah.
That is not what happened.
Right.
It is their social media account manager. But
even
still,
the fact that Sean Whalen's like, hey, come get lunch with us.
He's
is
amazing.
Bananas.
Yeah.
He just finished filming his feature film debut, Crust, like his directorial debut. And so he's really hyped about that. And that's going to be releasing in a few months. And he said it went really well. So anyway, fun stuff.
Yeah.
We're going out to LA.
LA.
But I'm scared. I mean, we got to fucking be at the airport at like 4 a.m. I've flown many times, but I'm a bitch about it. So I don't book early flights for that reason. It just, I don't like stuff like that. But we had to. I mean, it was like a last minute Memorial Day weekend flight to LA. We had no choice about what the comforts of flying, what we could, like, well, I'm flying United. I've literally never done that. Never would by choice.
Right.
So it's like, oh no. And I'm nervous about like, carpet
be
things.
nervous.
Carpet things.
Don't be nervous.
Casey, friend of the show, said my outfit's tacky. So yeah, I saw what you voted for.
It's not tacky.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're going to love it, Casey. You're going to love it. But anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. We're super excited. I'm going to love the movie. I'm obsessed with the first one. I've seen quite a few early screenings, right? Like hundreds of those, but I've never been to a fucking premiere.
Yeah.
So I'm super hyped.
Oh, one real quick thing. The episodes that we release will be on the RSS feed only. They will not be on YouTube because that was when we did not record stuff. So it's an audio only thing. So if you are watching this on
the bonus
YouTube
episodes,
and you want to listen to the bonus episodes, you actually have to download the podcast. They will not be on YouTube.
Thank you so much for this, Madison. And thank you for being here. I mean, the fans love that you're here. I'm sure they're
love
hyped
that
that
you're
sticking
here.
around.
Well, no, I have such a good time, and I had this idea a while ago, and I was like,
Glorious.
I want to bring it to life, and
I got so many
You're the
fingerprints on
best.
it already.
Like legit. You're the best.
you guys are the best.
I'm going to have
Thank
to
you.
microfiber this.
You're already getting fingerprints on
I
it.
got tons of finkies on it.
Oh
Look,
my
you could dust
goodness.
this shit and send me away
Book them.
if it were stolen.
Don't
Yeah, book 'em.
I give it to Walter. I'm like, hey, all of his shit's on this.
I love that you put the beak back on. But that's all the time we have for right now. My name is Chris.
My name's Madison.
And my name's Caligula.
And this is Streaming Things. Happy streaming.
It's gonna be May. And in this month of May, we want to give a special shout out to the patrons that are brand new to the Stream Fiends family. This first person isn't brand new, but they have upgraded their tier to the highest possible tier. That is the K-Stu patron saint of Streaming Things. And that is none other than Will Nash. Thank you, Will, for your patronage. In the Try Before You Deny producers tier, we want to welcome Alan Tomlinson. Hello, Alan. Thanks for joining. In the Marty B VIP producers tier, we want to thank Christian Louise, Kate Russell, Gabriella Balin, and Rachel B. Thank you all so much for being in the Nina with Dr. Marty B. In the Chocolate Pudding producer section, we want to welcome Alyssa Haley, Karis Brister, Echo, Romeo, Oscar, Jason Richards, Harry and Charmaine, Chelsea Agunde, Nomad Props, David Gauthier, probably mispronouncing all of these, Christian Pancal, Kelly Camp, Nathan Fisher, Izzy Drawing Wolf, and Mary Phillips. Thank you all for joining the Chocolate Pudding tier. Hope you enjoy this bonus episodes. And in the Friends Don't Lie producer section, we want to thank Serena Singh, K.L. Morton, Tony T. Is that Tony time? We'll never know. Ronan, and Mike Oxlong. Thank you all so much for keeping the lights on over here at Streaming Things. We love you so much dearly, and we appreciate your patronage so much in this month of May.